podcasting.
Podcast. Okay, we're live. We're on the air. I've been dreading this.
Yeah, I've been excited but panicked because I wish I had more time.
That's always the way that it goes.
Yes.
I'm dreading it because I don't even know if I want to get into why I feel this way. Maybe
You'll
I
get
won't.
to it.
We'll establish it. We'll establish it later. But I have strong feelings.
I did go through great misery trying to order art, which I think we are doing a bad act.
Trying to order art?
Like taking music and movies and ranking them. This is bad. And it's what the entire show is based upon.
Yeah.
But I think we've gotten to the point. By the way, this is our 5th award show.
Oh my god.
Half decade of this.
That's crazy. Can we clap? I'm too far from the buttons now. This was the disadvantage of being cozy. Yay! 5 award shows. Yeah, I don't think it's bad. It's fun. It's a fun thing to do. These are all good. When you told me that we were going to do 20 albums, and I was like, okay. I knew that I had 20 to talk about. I didn't think that was going to be a problem. I didn't think I would be struggling as much as I did to whittle it down
this year.
to 20. And I rewrote this like 6 times or something last night. And then something else would come to me that I thought, oh, I really want to include that. Yeah. I have written down like 6 honorable mentions.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know if I'll do all of them, but
I have like one honorable mention that I do want to do. And usually I have the issue that you had this year, where it's like I have so much I need to cut it down. And this time I focused much more on like what are the essentials, right?
Yeah.
And I had about like 7 that are like these could all be album of the year.
Yeah.
Right? And I spent all of this week trying to figure out what order to put those in. And then I was like, shit, I have to do 13 more albums. And like, I could find them pretty quickly. But for my own sake, I was like, I need to re-listen to all these at least once each to make sure that I am right in thinking they're great. And they were. But like, it was hard. Yeah. To then, off of like one recent listen, be like, okay, is this better than this other one recent listen? Like, you know, I planned it out badly.
Well, and I think I don't think it's bad because... the ranking I don't think is bad because this doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't.
We're not harming these people, and it's
for
fun.
my own soul though. Because I sometimes we can go historically through this show, right?
Sure.
Sometimes I am right for what I think is my best album of the year. 2019, first time we did this, right? Yeah. I said Igor is the best album of the year. I still believe that. Yeah. There's nothing that I don't even think about it too much because I'm like, obviously I love that album so much. It meant a lot to me, right? Yeah. 2020 rolls around. I gave Flo Milli Hawaii As You Hear album of the year. Now, fantastic album. Okay. Yeah. Great mixtape. Okay. Yeah. Leon LaHava's self-titled is something I go back to like 4 times a year. Yeah. She's a genius. No, totally. So that's a crime, right? So I try to do this to do myself justice, like future me. So if I ever think back on this, I'm like, I did it. I nailed it.
Well, the thing is, I mean, some of that you like learn with time. Because I've definitely discovered, and like I discovered other albums after we did the list that I was like, this would have been there. Exactly. For sure. It's a shame I didn't know about it at the time. Totally. I, this year, feel like I let my amount of time listening and like personal enjoyment steer things a lot more. Because there's stuff that I know... There's stuff that you know is better, or like maybe is better.
You gotta treat it that way, you know, because it's all personal preference. If you just keep going back to something, obviously it should have an edge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is kind of like what I mean. And sometimes, but sometimes there is stuff that like I'll listen to once, and I like can't listen to it again, or not that I can't, but I don't know. No, something you like consume and enjoy, but it's not like the same rewarding everyday listening kind of experience. Or if it is, it's like maybe something intense and it just like
some of these albums
is crazy.
I think lost points on that because they're not as easily listenable as others. Yeah. For me. Where I was like, the first listen, I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Yeah. This might be my album of the year. And then it loses points because it's like I'm going to work. I don't really need to be in this headspace right now. Like I'm commuting. I would like something a little more, let's get the day started and not, I feel like I am in like a dive bar at 4 a.m. and somebody is like preying on me. Like, it doesn't feel good to listen to this music, but it's good art.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's certainly, I think music criticism or any sort of artistic criticism is kind of an art unto itself.
Yeah, sure.
And so I think that's
what we're doing. We're doing art here.
That is okay.
We're doing art here.
You don't think so?
Talking about nothing had to go. I think you're right in a technical term. It just always sounds pretentious to say that like music curation or criticism is art, because it's like we're just talking shit or glazing. Those are the two things we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
But if you make an album that's all samples, that's still art.
Oh, that's way more art than what we're doing right now. They get way more art points.
Yeah, oh, sure. I'm not going to say this gets the most art points, but I do think that like criticism has a lot of value.
It does. No,
and
totally.
It has like a lot of art, can have very artistic intentions behind it.
People get the value wrong a lot of the times. It's criticism, where they
for sure,
they don't see it for like just, you base your opinion off of if you're going to explore the art on this like persona that you've created around the critic, right?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, they say this all the time that like a good critic will let you know if you would like an album, even if it's a negative review, if you know them good enough, right? So like if you're very familiar with what they value in art, and then you should be able to see through a negative review if you'd like it or not.
Yeah. There's one instance of that I can think of that's like on my list, but I don't know. Anyway,
let's do the fucking award show.
Bad. It's for fun.
It's Talking About Nothing with Evan and Keelan.
Remember like the first 2 or 3 years where I made unique theme songs?
That was fun. This is all it is now, though. This is all we do. This one
it's
show.
The whole show. So like,
it doesn't need a unique theme song every time.
It's not
this is
special.
the show.
It's the show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
So Well, what do you wanna start with? I assume we'll end with the albums. Do you have any? This is the TAN Awards. We give out awards.
Welcome to the Talking About Nothing Awards, where we talk about our favorite things of the year. What a year it's been!
What a year!
2024.
2024. Pretty good year, I would say, for me personally, in recent times. What do you think about that?
This year was wild. It was wild for. It was great for art, I think, in terms of music, movies. What are the other arts? TV shows. I saw some. Photography, video games.
Mixed media.
Pottery.
I feel like, that's been around in a big way.
Basket weaving. Renaissance in 2024.
Yeah. Everything came back. Whatever you like is back.
It's back, baby.
It's back.
We're in a cultural renaissance.
Exactly. It's huge. It's a lot of fun.
Terrifying year for like all the other things, I feel, but that's always how it goes.
I meant for me personally.
I had a great year. We graduated from school.
A lot of good things.
We had some fun adventures.
Monumental year personally in our lives.
Yes.
Do you have some fun little awards?
I got like one. We can't be
waxing for too long.
But they're not like, it's not unique. I literally just have Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
And I think it's the Rizzler. I think, okay. Hear me out.
That's a good one.
I think I have 2 more that are more serious. I think the Rizzler deserves Rookie of the Year, and then I'd give like White Boy of the Year to like Luigi Mangione.
That's who my White Boy of the Year was. But isn't he Italian? Does that count? No, he's White Boy of the Year.
Yeah, he's White Boy of the Year. Come on now, he's a computer science.
No, I know.
But I think my logic for not giving him Rookie of the Year is like a Rookie of the Year is someone you see potential in.
No, I considered giving him Rookie of the Year as well,
right?
But I gave him White Boy.
He gets White Boy of the Year because the Rizzler can go places. Luigi Mangione might get transferred from facility to facility, but like we saw his prime essentially. Don't worry about that. We saw his prime. Yeah. You know? We saw his whole career.
I did think it would be funny to call him. I thought it'd be funny to call him Rookie of the Year and then say like, I'm looking forward to whatever he does next.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. He's a bit of a D-Rose in that kind of way.
Yeah.
But the Rizzler, those two might have been the two most unanimously loved individuals in the cultural zeitgeist. And they did two very different things.
Well, yeah.
I want to give more props to Luigi, I think, than the chubby Costco boy.
Yeah.
But man, do I love that chubby Costco boy.
They're killing that kid.
He's not even related.
I know.
To
How
AJ
did they
and
get
Big
him?
Justice. And I mean, we're in January now. There's been all the discussion that can be had around the Costco guys is done.
Costco guys.
We just want to say we stand.
They were one of those things where I feel like I skipped their introduction to virality. I felt this way about when people were saying demure and shit like that, which was a not fun 5 minutes. But my introduction to that was people making fun of it. I never even saw
that's awesome
people doing it unironically and personally got to be like, this is annoying. I just saw people being hating on the demure thing.
No, I think that
was my intro.
I think it's a phenomenon that didn't exist before 2018.
Yeah.
I always felt this way where we'd have a cycle in okay, memes as a phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
We're first half of the 2010s were very simple.
Yeah.
Right? And then around 2015, we'd have this cycle of something's cool, and then we do post irony on it.
Right.
And that cycle continued until I believe they did surgery on a grape. And that was, I promise you, I was there. Eyewitness account, one day. One day did surgery on a grape. By the end of the day, this shit sucks. Okay? But ever since then, it's like an Ouroboros. Okay? It's eating its own tail. It's completely consumed itself. It's a paradox. The post-irony and the original appreciation of the meme happen simultaneously. There is no logic anymore.
I still love they did surgery on a grape.
Oh, we all do.
I don't know if I love the meme. If I'd love a meme.
I love what it stands for.
I think it's inspiration. Anytime anything goes remotely wrong in my life, especially when I'm cooking, I remind myself that they did surgery on a grape. There you go. And that I can overcome, I don't know, the fact that my pizza fell off a peel when I put it in the oven or something like that. But this was all to say, I feel like the Costco guys, I've seen very little of the original Costco content. It's just all of a sudden they were on podcasts.
Sure.
And things like that. I saw them a little bit. I saw them around, but they were already on other things. But to come back to Luigi Mangione.
It was great to see the come up, I will say.
It was. Yeah, good for them. I don't know what...
But yeah, Luigi.
Next. I also put Luigi Mangione as my white boy of the year, but I had I considered him for rookie, as I already said, but I had a strong runner-up for rookie of the year, who I've now moved into a new category, which I call ally of the year.
Okay.
And it's Brian Steele.
Who the fuck is Brian
Young Thug's lawyer.
Oh, yes, of course. No, he was dope.
He got him 0 jail time.
No, he's cool as fuck. Yeah.
Amazing.
Shout out Brian Steele, for sure.
Can someone just, we need someone to do the good work of watching all of these celebrity trials and editing them down just to sort of TV show length episodes and put it all on YouTube, because this seems to keep...
Because I'm not watching all that shit.
No, I'm not watching them.
Nuh-uh.
But they're fun. If we could do a highlights reel of celebrity...
That would be
ESPN,
nice. That would be nice.
Top 10 highlights of the week, but it's just celebrity trial clips.
I like that.
All in one package. I think that would be fantastic.
And then just get the inside the NBA guys. They're all going to be off contract at the end of the year.
Yeah,
so let's just ship them off of basketball, and let's get them talking about. I think ASAP Rocky's facing charges at the end of this month. So
really,
yeah, people aren't talking about that.
You know what? Shout out ASAP Rocky.
I don't know.
What did he do?
I think it's assault of some sort.
Oh, sad.
We can look into it. We'll do our research. We'll come back next year. Is that why he pushed
his album again?
Because
I was really excited about that album.
I know.
I was really looking for it. I really like all the singles.
Should we look up what he did in the middle of this award show?
We're talking about last year.
ASAP. He probably did it last year.
Yeah, probably.
Rocky
That's true.
trial. Let's see. Oh, terrible internet. You know, oh, hold on. Felony assault. He allegedly shot ASAP Relly.
Oh.
Things happen. We don't know the facts.
It's in gang, man. That's fine. They could sort that out themselves.
Yeah.
We don't need to get the court
Fuck Pusha T, though.
Fuck Pusha T.
We got a button for that.
I thought we were off that, but it's still there.
It's still there. I don't remember why we were mad at him. It was so long ago.
I think we just thought that, the name's escaping me now, but his album was overrated.
Yeah.
I think we thought
we
that
did kind of
it
think
was getting
that.
way too much, which we've long rescinded.
Yeah.
And
That
numbers
was a
on the
weird
board.
year. 2018.
is one of the best
We didn't even do an
songs.
award show that year. We weren't
No, we might
established
have
enough
tried,
yet.
but
Now
we
we're a
weren't
great
ready.
industry titan.
Yeah, but we have to move on.
I literally
other
all the
things to
other
talk
awards I
about.
wrote down was TV shows, movies, and albums. And for TV shows, I have 2.
You have 2?
I didn't
Okay, let's
watch
talk about TV
television
show.
this year.
Me neither, really. Not that much.
Yeah, it's bad.
There's too many TV shows.
I got over. I didn't watch the
Too big a
Squid Game.
commitment.
I didn't watch
That just
Fallout.
happened, though.
It did.
I
I
watched a
watched.
little
Okay,
Fallout.
I'll add another. I watched 3 TV shows this year.
Well, what's your best one?
I think the best one I saw was Industry Season 3.
Mine's Industry
I'm just gonna
Season
I'm just
3.
gonna steal that from you, even though it's your show that you told me to watch. That show's incredible.
Yeah.
This season is the best yet.
Oh, by far.
So well done.
I didn't have a strong case. I never felt I had a strong case for recommendation. I would selfishly recommend Industry to people up until this season.
You want somebody to talk to.
A little bit, yeah,
yeah.
and I thought it was good, and I enjoyed it, but I was aware that not everyone might care,
Yeah.
and I don't think I could make a case of how strong a show it was. This
season's
season,
finally,
I'm like, this
you
is
have something.
this is
Yep.
now mandatory viewing. It really is worth watching. It's so good. They step everything up so much.
Yes.
It's so much more exciting.
It's so good. It's so good.
The stakes are so much higher because it's like verging on a reality, not quite a reality show, but it's really just like watching people like have a bunch of fun with a bunch of money and make a bunch of horrible choices and then occasionally face consequence. They really invite the rest of the world into it in Industry Season 3, and there's real stakes.
And if you
which I really
you
enjoy.
told me that what HBO did was wait for Succession to end and then hire all the talented people who worked on that to just move over to Industry, I'd believe you. It feels so Succession like in like the writing and like how like contained an episode would be. It's like, this is the Rishi episode, this is the fucking like characters get their own episodes and arcs like very contained into different parts of the seasons, but which makes it just feel so much bigger than it is.
Definitely.
Whereas like the seasons prior are just like very incremental in progress between characters, and it's more it's an HBO show. Like, it's good
for sure,
but it's just like sex, drugs, alcohol, and there's some banking in it too.
That's what I love.
And that's why
the
I love
guys
too.
who made it were in banking.
Good.
And they talk about how they were terrible at it, and
Good. That's why I don't
decided to
understand what's
make a
going
TV
on in the show, because they don't understand that they have to explain it to us. That's perfect. That's what I want. That's what I want.
And it overlapped with Succession. It's earlier season before on when Succession was still on.
That's why I'm wondering if this season, now that Succession's done, they just hired a bunch of writers off the show.
Maybe.
Keep it
I don't know.
in-house.
I think it's the original guys who do most of the writing.
Well, they're doing a
I
great
do
job.
think they got the advantage of I don't know. There was a bit more of an open space in
yeah.
Because even if you put this season out, if this was the first season of the show and it had to compete with Succession or Game of Thrones or something like that at its peak, it might not have done as well. It probably still would have got buried. But there's still there was kind of a void. I think they picked their moment to really blow up.
Absolutely.
What else really is there?
Absolutely. I mean, imagine if they dropped this last year, where they have to compete with last season's Succession and then the Bear season 2.
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Right?
The Bear season 3.
I wrote down Bear season 3. It's probably my third place out of the 3 TV shows I watched. It was a good season.
Yeah.
But it's not like they had a lot to live up to for season 2.
It was good. I was thinking about this on the way over here, that the only thing I'll say is it felt like the Bear season 3 which was still good and had highs, and I still enjoyed, but like kind of moved into like focusing more on the ensemble characters, and I kind of felt like they forgot about Harmy.
Yeah,
a little bit this
they
season.
did.
He doesn't get as much shine, and while season 2 has standalone episodes that like Harmy's not in or is in extremely little, those episodes really build on your understanding of him as a character.
It's true,
because they go to work and Richie goes to the old restaurant that he used to work at.
Yeah. He's like a specter.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
So
where
does
as here
Lionel.
you're just like, oh, he's just depressed and he has no idea what he's doing and he's like actually regressing as a person.
Yeah, exactly. And the solo episodes don't like, maybe they will because I trust them, but so far I felt like they didn't like contribute to the overall season as strongly.
Yeah.
But it's still good, and I
have
will watch
great
it,
hopes
and it's
for
a
the
lot
next
of fun. They really upped the cameos. They definitely have more fun this season, which I enjoyed, especially. Which I almost feel like they now feel pressured to because they keep getting nominated for comedy at the Emmys.
Yes,
because of their shorter runtime, and I think they're fine with that, but they need to maybe justify it a little bit more.
It was the funniest season so far.
It was by far the funniest season.
Some incredible moments, some incredible cameos. I do like how much fact is in it.
Yeah,
both
I
facts,
think that's good. Yeah,
all facts, I should say.
Yeah, well, there's
let's
like
get
9,
more facts.
8. Yeah. Oh, that's like the best thing that they've set up
universe.
Because they're gonna keep bringing. You got Franny Fact,
we do
who
have
everyone
Franny
seems
Fact.
to hate. I can't wait for her to make an appearance.
Yeah.
Who do you think they'll get to be Franny Fact?
I want it to be like Rachel Sennett. I want it so badly.
Yeah, I would really.
It'd be
I would
really
like
good.
that. That would be fun.
But yeah, and then the last season of television I saw was Arcane season 2, which I'd put at like second place for me. It's really good.
I know. I should.
It's really good. It's like everyone loves it.
I should. You know, Wisdom K, the fashion guy on TikTok. He makes all the crazy outfits.
So cool.
I saw a video from him. People keep asking him. He seems like a sweetheart, first of all. But people keep asking him to make Arcane outfits, and he was like, "I'm gonna watch the whole show. I'm gonna spend like 2-3 weeks. I'm gonna watch the whole show. I'm gonna play League of Legends." And I was like, "I don't know. You have to." I've only heard
Cut that out. Cut that out. You don't have to do that. I had a coworker.
It's really, he's like, I want to do right by the fandom, and I would be like, that would be screaming at people. You don't have to do that.
People bring this up to me all the time, where they're like, "Have you seen Arcane?" I was like, "Yeah, it's great. Don't watch don't play the game though.
Play the game.
Like, the show is perfect.
Yeah.
Please stay away."
Yeah.
That's the worst part of the show is that it convinces people to play the video game,
League of Legends,
which is like where they make the money.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Is there even a strong story in League of Legends or characters?
Yeah,
My
the lore
understanding is
the
that
lore
there's
is
like
very
not,
loosely webbed, but
which
there's a lot
I feel
more.
like is what gives you the strength to make an adaptation that's so good, because there really is.
And they
not
take
much to
liberties,
adapt.
which is good. Like they push shit around, which is what it needs, you know.
That's great.
But no, it's a fantastic show.
Yeah,
and I hope that they're gonna do like basically spin-offs in the future, and they're gonna be great.
That'd be sick.
That's all I got.
I have 2 more little awards, which are just Slang I Hated this year and Slang I Loved. Slang I Hated was Aura. Maybe that's a hot take.
Gonna have to disagree.
You disagree with me? I feel like
I think it became ironic very quickly, and that it's fun again.
I was just never. I don't know that it was. I was just never
vibe.
on board with it.
It's just vibe.
That's what my issue is. We're just coming up with new words
we
for
do
the
that.
same thing,
We
which
do
is
that
what I
every
suppose we've been doing for as long as we've had vocal cords. But whatever. Slang I Loved, or that at least I think had a great year, was Crash Out. That was by far my favorite.
Great year for Crash Out.
Just such an apt way to describe
when
people are crashing out, and I really enjoy that.
That's a great category.
What else do you think? This was my last point of discussion that I had, which isn't a category. But what do you think's what's out this year? What are we getting rid of in 2024?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is out.
Joe Biden's out. I don't know. I mean, like, there's things I'd hope would fucking leave, but they're not gonna. Like, there's gonna be more AI art. That's terrible.
Yeah, no, that's true. You know what I'm really sick of? That I want to see less of, that I won't see less of, and is probably the most hypocritical thing that I could ever say in this context of this podcast. I'm so sick of people, like,
having
just
bugs.
delivering hot takes on the internet for like no reason, like they're candy, and just being like just saying shit.
You know the guy who goes in the bus and he has a clip-on mic on his New York subway card.
Yes, I do love that guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I wish I could be on his show. Already know what I'm going to say at the show. I would say, buddy, I love you. You're doing great work. My hot take is meta and pretentious. It's that hot take culture is damaging for society.
Yeah.
I know that's a hot take on hot takes.
Yeah.
But it had to be said.
Yeah.
This is stupid. It destroys any like semblance of a fucking like any nuance in discussion. It's just it's like there's a tweet that's like people say shit so matter-of-factly. I don't know, man. Maybe it depends, you know? Like, a hot take removes any depends.
Yeah. The only thing... no, it's true. And I said this, so I have to agree with you. The only thing that maybe protects that one show is that they do talk about it, and it's one hot take per clip.
Yeah.
Which I suppose I still agree with you, and I think we need less hot takes. But that I can stand. The amount of shows that I just see that are people being like, "What's your hot take for 30 minutes?"
Yeah,
and that's all they do. Mm-hmm. I'm so sick of. And I think we all collectively just need to like shut the fuck up for a year, and then we can come back, and then we can talk again. But everyone needs to chill out.
I will say, this is not my opinion, but I think just a matter of fact, 2025, Hawk to a Girl is done. Her career ended in December.
Man,
she's not recovering from Hawk to a Coin, and I'm a little heartbroken.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad about it.
Yeah, maybe. But
I hope she makes a comeback.
She's beat the odds before. You know?
Yeah? By having a podcast in the first place?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, and it going past one episode.
Yeah.
And then two. And it's just, she's so ripe to be memed on. That's how, when you're born out of like being a meme, if you can continue to like be one by doing things like making a coin and losing money, I think you can live on.
Sure.
Because that's all she's ever known.
Yes.
Also, the other thing that I'd like to mention, can people stop posting things that they know are embarrassing and thinking that they're like
for engagement
fun and cute? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this video of you seen the video of the girl who tears down all the Greek flags because she thinks they're Israel? Why put that on the internet?
I don't know. For engagement. Like, it works. That's, they're shameless.
Yeah. We've come so far the other way of like the internet we used to be like, people on the internet, you don't know their whole lives. You can't. It's super curated. There's just an image that you only see them having fun. And now, can we go back to that? Now everything is people being embarrassing online all the time. Yeah. I feel like, and they'll just post anything.
It's true. We are in a wasteland on the internet. It's never been so bad, and I wholeheartedly believe that. It's dying in front of our very eyes,
and we're here to contribute with it. So
let's keep Mr. Beast in 2024 too. Could we kill that guy?
I don't think we can kill him.
I mean, not us. Can someone?
Someone could.
Theoretically?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not gonna call for a man's death.
No, what? We wouldn't do that. No. What? That's ridiculous.
No.
Did this sound like that when I said it like that?
Well, you said, "Can we kill him?"
It was just a hypothetical.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, so there was music and movies this year.
I guess we got to get into it because it's the bulk of the show.
Yeah, we can do that. I don't want to. Yeah, we can't. We gotta. We gotta tighten things.
What are we at? We're at 30 minutes almost.
Jesus Christ.
Just pretend some of that was ads. Thank you.
Yeah. Squarespace.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Amazon.
Go donate to the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, please.
Destroy the working class with Amazon. We're gonna start with movies, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Because it's shorter.
Yep.
You did 10.
I did 10.
I also did 10. I had considered suggesting, do we do 5?
I'd be fine with that. I didn't see too many movies, but I have 10, so let's just run them quick, and then the ones that we want to talk about, we can talk about.
Okay, that's fine.
Right?
Because in the bottom half of my list, I saw 29 movies.
I only think I saw like 13
this year. From this year.
Yeah. You went harder than
I. And I try this thing now in life where with movies and music a little bit. Mm-hmm. Music, I feel less pressed about it because it costs me less money. Yeah. Movies, I will like watch any movie. I've said this to you in real life before. I'll watch any movie released in the current year.
Yeah,
in 2024, I'll watch any movie that came out in 2024. Yeah, it's like my rule to myself. If you're like, you want to watch Red 1, Minions 3, whatever.
You did see Red 1.
I did see it. I did watch it. My mom wanted to watch it. No, it did not make the list. I didn't even post a review.
Did you watch it in IMAX though? I heard it was game over in IMAX.
No, it wasn't. The game's still on.
Damn it.
Unfortunately.
Damn it. Speaking of Joe Burrow in the locker room.
The only things I have to say about Red 1 is The Rock comes dangerously close to attempting to play a character with feelings.
Yeah.
And Jamar
Chase.
We got football on the back.
We're watching football in the back.
And as bad as it is, I want Chris Evans to go back to being in better movies. I love that after he was done playing Captain America, he was like, I'm never playing a sweet, wholesome boy ever again. I'm going to be the biggest douchebag in every movie. Awesome. And I do get some enjoyment out of that. But let's talk about the good movies.
What's your top
10 good movies? Top 10?
10?
Number 10.
Me first?
I'll go first.
You're the movie guy.
I put number 10. My number 10 is Megalopolis from Francis Ford Coppola, which I considered just leaving off entirely and putting some other movie.
We gotta talk about it, man.
But I was like, I would give it as an honorable mention. But then I just decided I did want it to be my 10, and I love that movie exists. I don't even know if I can sit here and tell you that it is a good movie at all.
It's not, but it's awesome.
I'm just so glad that it is a thing that was made, and that it's really cool when people want to make art and they get to make exactly the art that they want in spite of everything else, and then distribute it to lots of people. There's so many people who want to make movies who can't do something like that. I a little bit feel like even people who do make movies professionally, like, almost never get to make the movie that they really, really want to make. And I'm really proud that Francis Ford Coppola got to do it, and he was this stone little maniac the whole time. And I take issue with the fact that anyone who says that the movie's funny by accident, I think it's funny on purpose.
Not all of it. There's definitely both.
Not all of it, but I think it's more funny on purpose than it is by accident. And I just don't think that you spend $80 million of your own money and then release a movie if it's not like what you wanted. I don't know. And I just think that he's a maniac, and it's so weird. I almost think the thing that would have benefited Megalopolis even more is if it could have just like had even less of a narrative structure. Like, the only reason people really, I think, take issue with it who have seen it is because the narrative is kind of the weakest part of the movie.
That's what I love. That I love how ridiculous it is.
It's like a standalone thing.
It's awful. The narrative is like he put the least amount of thought into that of anything in the movie, and it's amazing that way. He made the right call. He made the right call. No, but I'm just thinking, like, sometimes I watched that movie twice. Once with you and once with Hayden, and the first time, actually maybe both times, I would laugh just because I noticed Dennis Hopper is standing in the background. I'm like, what's this guy doing? Why is he here? And that you would have to be a comedic genius to even think about making me laugh there. Yeah. But there are some intentionally funny parts, no doubt.
Well, I'm not sure that it's a good movie, but it's I think that it's his vision executed to the highest degree that he could.
Sure.
And I love that happened. And I smiling, having fun, ear to ear, the whole time I was watching it. Enjoyment?
I cried.
12 out of 10, whatever you want.
First viewing, I looked down at my sweater at one point in the movie, and I could see tear marks. They dropped down from my face onto the sweater.
It's awesome.
It is one of the funniest films I've ever seen. My number 10 is Rap World, but Conor O'Malley's early to mid 2000s epic, really period piece, I guess I would say. About wannabe rappers in
some shitty town. I don't even remember the name of the town. It's
They're like in
tiny little town.
Pennsylvania
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
It's
they
like
rap about the
it's
town.
like an equivalent of like Scranton, Pennsylvania, like from The Office. It's like that.
It's so funny. You can find that on YouTube.
It is insanely funny.
But they do such a good job of portraying the 2000s to me. Like, not even aesthetically, but like in demeanor, in, you know, behavior. It just felt so there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels so accurate. And I
those
love
guys
it.
really did exist who thought that they were doing something very cool, but completely misunderstood what made it a cool thing. Yeah, I didn't include Rap World, but maybe I can make that my honorable mention just because it was like 40 minutes and on YouTube. So maybe that disqualifies. I don't know, but it's super sick. It is a movie.
It 30 minutes? How long is it?
It's not like a feature length.
No, it's not, but it's a little, I want to say like 40 or 50 minutes. Right.
No, yeah, okay, that's probably right. I think it comes in under an hour. But
55, yeah.
But it's great. I also love it. That's a really good inclusion.
Yeah.
My number 9 is The Apprentice.
Mine is too.
Yeah. Which I think suffers from all the things that most biopics kind of do suffer from. But I like it. I don't know if you could have made a Donald Trump biopic any better than what they did.
They did really good.
I really like that while it does a really good job of dunking on Donald Trump and Roy Cohn and making them look like the evil, heartless people that they are. I think it also is really good at pointing to the systemic structure of the United States that allows these people to thrive. And I am really glad that it does that so well, because I think that's a lot more almost important than just making a Orange Man bad biopic movie. Yes. Which it could have like really easily been.
Yeah. It's not a movie I want to like spoil in terms of what, like, I feel like the best things about that movie are very specific plot points and like overarching narratives that I don't really want to get too into, but like I think you hit the nail on the head with like it really doesn't go Orange Man bad, and more Orange Man was built from his environment, you know. Really, really good. Great acting by both wonderful lads in that. You got Jeremy Strong as Roy Cohn. You got Sebastian Stan as Donald Trump.
Call me Sebastian the way I stand.
Exactly. And I don't think I could say it any better than that. But that was also my number 9.
A hell of a year.
You have your 8?
My 8 is Perfect Days, which some people will tell me came out in 2023, but I've looked it up. In Canada, came out wide release 2024, so it's on my list.
If really I had an old Canada button, I'd press it right now. That's the laws we follow under.
Yeah, exactly. Wim Wenders is the German. Who's to say? That's the director.
Sure.
He was great, really fun, really sweet little movie. Kind of I feel like you watch it the whole time, and because it is about the very mundane goings on of this man in Japan's life, that you don't expect to be as affected by it as you do. And then by the end of it, I was like, wow, this was a very emotional movie, and I feel sad, happy, confused, all these sorts of things, and it sneaks up on you, and that's really great feeling.
Yes.
And just watching him go about his day-to-day life is really wholesome and enjoyable. He really likes music and tapes.
I like music.
Yeah.
I should watch that movie. I heard only good things.
That's great. My 8 is Saturday Night.
Nice.
I had so much fun with that movie.
Yeah.
It does exactly what you want it to, I feel, in a lot of... It's so chaotic. It takes place... It's basically... I think it runs in real time for the most part.
Pretty close to it, yeah.
And that you're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
Incredible performances from so many up-and-coming actors.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like everyone kind of kills it in there. And then you'll just have, like... John Baptiste and Corey Henry just randomly make appearances. You're like, that's not even like a cameo worthy appearance for anybody other than us. You know, like that's just cool. Like you got to be a fucking nerd, to appreciate that. But there's so many cool people in there.
There are.
Is J.K. Simmons in that shit?
He is.
He's the old guy, right?
Yeah, he takes his penis.
That's
out.
crazy. And then Phil Sy Hoffman's kid does incredibly. Rachel Sennett. The guy who played Chevy Chase did incredible. The guy who played
Lorne Michaels?
No.
Gabriel LaBella?
No. He did great. Not to show him, but the guy who played fucking Blues Brothers guy, John Belushi.
Yeah, I do not remember the actor's name.
He did
but
incredible.
Shout out to you, sir. You were
Shout
amazing.
out to you, sir. Like for the little amount of screen time you got in that movie, he really stole the show in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
just cool. And then the Dan Aykroyd guy too.
Yeah.
I wish I knew the names of these actors because I had such a good time watching all them act.
Dan Aykroyd fella has been in other things. I forget, but a shout out to both those boys.
Fuck.
Yes, I loved Saturday Night. I had a great time with it. It's not on my list because
other movies were better. That's how it goes.
Just a little bit more exciting. I don't know how much else I'd have to say about Saturday Night other than it was really good and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I feel weirdly nostalgic for that stuff in that time in which I did not live or exist or was even probably considered as someone who would. But I love learning about that stuff and that era of comedy.
It's great. What do you have at 7?
My 7's Long Legs, which is a movie that has a lot of problems. Okay. And the ending is kind of dumb. Sure. But the vibes are off the charts in that movie, in my opinion. I'm a sucker for X-Files-esque FBI supernatural investigative things. Silence of the Lambs. I wish they did some things different with the end of the movie in particular. But I had like a great time watching it. Nicolas Cage is absolutely insane in that movie. He's so sick. The music that they picked, I think, complements the movie really well. They use a bunch of T-Rex songs. It's got this old garage blues kind of thing going on, which is really cool. Yeah. And then I just found it spooky, and I'm just, I don't know, a sucker for all the aesthetics and stuff that are going on in that movie. And I really, really enjoyed it.
That's great. I haven't seen it. I did see, I want to say Taran Killam from SNL fame was on Comedy Bang Bang and played Long Legs as a character. And I watched it in like the best of episode where they go to the best episodes. And apparently before the episode, like he went to Scott Aukerman, the host, and he's like, okay, I got a couple characters. Let me know what you think. And Scott sometimes gets... comedians come to him for advice. He's like, I literally don't care what the fuck you do. And the two of them were Long Legs or a guy who owns a Cybertruck. So what he decided to do is just mention halfway through the episode that Long Legs owns a Cybertruck, just to like spice up his character a little bit more, which I thought was nice.
That's incredible.
What's
your 7?
No, he's great. 7, I have Anora. Which I know. I loved that movie. I just loved other things more. But it's a
fucking fantastic film. We had a great time, I think, watching it in theaters.
Yeah.
And it was a movie that, I mean, you remember, it took us a while later that night to sort out our feelings about, you know?
I felt pretty good about it.
Sure.
Yeah, but I definitely had.
I knew I liked it. I just wanted to know why.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and after marinating with it, I thought that it was fantastic. I think it in terms of like, I guess you call it a comedy for the most part, but it approaches comedy in a very different, almost more realistic way than a lot of other comedy films.
Yeah.
It just, like, the pacing is not perfect. It's more sporadic.
Yeah.
You know?
It does have, like, a lull, for sure. And
but I really like that.
When the rich boy is kind of out of the picture, I think he brings a lot of the snappiness to the movie and the dialogue. My number 6 is Furiosa, the Mad Max movie, which I don't have too much to say. If you've seen any Mad Max movie, it's like that, and it's more of that, and I think that it was sick. Mm-hmm. It was really action heavy and incredible. The one complaint that I had about it when I watched it, and I did watch it on a plane, was that it was weirdly quiet. But I'm gonna put that on shitty audio in an airplane. Furiosa.
Mine wasn't quiet. It must have been an airplane thing. I saw it in
think it was an airplane thing because
it's a great movie.
I was just having weird moments where I was like, why is the like music so absent feeling to me even when it was on? But I think it was an airplane audio thing, and I have to watch it in real. The one thing I really loved about that movie was Chris Evans' bad guy.
He just so good as bad guy.
Good, and he
should play more bad guy.
Really fun
Totally.
Like he had good intentions that were misplaced and actioned extremely poorly, and I thought that was a fun twist on a Mad Max type villain, because I feel like sometimes they're just like the biggest baddest dude in the wasteland, and he wanted to bring the whole wasteland together, so he claimed, and was really not good at doing that, and he was a lot of fun.
Yes.
What's your number 6?
Oh, 6. Let me unlock my phone. I have Reform, which is a John Boy's 3-part documentary on an American political party that was started in, I believe, the 90s, called the Reform Party, which goes through its entire history, which includes characters such as Ross Perot, who basically made the party big. What's his name? Jesse Ventura, who also did very successful things within the party.
Nice.
Donald Trump shows up.
Incredible.
Right-wing demon Pat Buchanan shows up. It's a very cool way to visualize politics in John Boyce's unique statistic style. I think it's his magnum opus of the year. In a year where he did so much. He did, I want to say like 8 episodes of Pretty Good, which is a series where he just does random shit. And he has one about Kadarius Toney, who's a football player. We're watching football right now.
Nice.
He does one about what would happen if he theoretically bought a mattress every time that the mattress company emails him to buy a mattress. That was the stupidest one. There's one where, he did, the last 2 of the year were probably both the stupidest ones he did, because another one was him trying to fix the New York Knicks, and he does that by firing any player or dropping any player that misses a shot in a game. It's so bad, it's so dumb.
That's gotta be a great strategy.
It's so stupid. But he had a lot of hits. But Reform, he started the year with Reform, and I think he knew it was his strongest stuff. I can't wait to see what else he does this year. Because it was awesome.
Love that guy.
I watched it twice. 5.
5. My number 5's The Substance, which is a really fun, crazy body horror movie.
I really want to see it.
The most frightening part of that is when a man eats shrimp, which is...
I don't know how that could be scary. I do that all the time.
You watch it, and if you're like me, see it in a theater and sit in the front row. And it'll be really.
Sit in the front row?
I sat in the front row. It was the only seat available.
It was a packed.
It was a packed house here. No, well, it's in Odeon downtown.
I'm still surprised.
Yeah,
was it like right when it dropped?
Me too, man. No, I didn't think so. It had been like weeks.
Is the city becoming cool?
I don't know. That movie did really well for what it was. I saw it on a Tuesday night, so it was cheap day. So that could have contributed to success that day. But I go to movies on those nights all the time, and rarely
we go to so many movies on Tuesday, and it's just like 2 people are there.
I know, it's crazy.
That's great.
It was awesome to see it be so successful.
That's awesome.
But body horror movie has much to say that has already been said about womanhood and I think motherhood and beauty standards and all of these things in the world today. But it says it in a really aggressive and kind of in your face sort of way that is, I think, powerful and really fun to watch at the same time. I love a crazy body horror kind of movie that's like that.
It seems awesome.
It was sick.
I really want to.
Yeah, it was great.
See that movie.
It was great.
That's awesome.
Watch it.
I will. You have my word. Number 5. I saw the TV Glow.
I missed out. I haven't seen. I saw the TV Glow yet.
Love it. And let me say, this is good. You haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get everybody in listening to this podcast to have the same experience I did. So there's a cameo in this movie that you have to have seen the other 5 movies I've mentioned, because if I narrow it down to one, then it will probably give away what, or at least narrow down what the possible cameo could be. So watch my first 5, which was Rap World, The Apprentice, Saturday Night, Honora, Reform, and then watch I Saw the TV Glow, and out of nowhere, someone's going to show up and you'll be like, why the fuck is he in this movie? It's going to be awesome, and you're going to love it, okay?
All right. That's huge.
So that's a great part of this movie, but also just an incredible incredible trans allegory. I don't think that's a spoiler. It kind of just tells you that at the beginning of the movie.
No, that's
great performances from Justice Smith and others that I don't know the names of. I apologize. It's just great. It's very I think when I watched it, I was big into like my Charlie Kaufman bag.
Sure.
And it goes along those lines of just like being surreal to a degree, you know.
Yeah.
But a little more rooted in plot than Charlie Kaufman, but still very cool.
Nice.
But yeah, that's really all I gotta say.
I definitely need to watch it. I'm ashamed to say that I have not. My number 4 is A Different Man, which is where, once again, we bring back Sebastian Stan into the fold in, I think, probably his better performance of the year. But I've
heard good things, yeah.
But they're both great. That's another movie that I think you could probably describe as... It feels wrong to describe it as body horror because there is like a real person in it.
Yeah.
But it does deal with a lot of things that have to do with the human body and things about it that make us feel uncomfortable and challenge us. And Sebastian Stan's performance in that movie is fantastic. Yep. It feels super rooted in a lot of kind of like Cronenberg aesthetics and things like that, which I like. Yeah. I watched that movie and was like, David Cronenberg's got to be kicking himself that he didn't think of anything like that up until this time, or didn't make this movie. Sure. And the guy who's in the movie who has the condition that causes his face to be all weird is really delightful, and it's a very empowering movie at the same time, which I think is great as much as it is confrontational and maybe make people feel a bit uncomfortable. It's also uplifting, and it's a really fascinating dichotomy they got going on in that movie. Yeah. And I loved watching it.
That's awesome.
That's my number 4.
I really need to see that one too. Number 4, Megalopolis.
Wow.
And I'll say it with my chest.
All right. Yeah, do what I was too afraid to.
I did have a crisis touchdown by the Bengals, by the way.
Chase touchdown.
Jamar Chase touchdown.
What do the Bengals need to do?
They got to see Megalopolis, let me tell you. Yeah. Megalopolis is a movie that, after watching, first time I saw it was with your brother, Hayden Lindsay. Right. And we sat in the car after thinking, what the fuck do we rate this out of 5 stars? Because in terms of a movie-going experience, it is one of the greatest, most fun times I've ever had in the theater, right? In terms of, like, quality, you could say it's shit, and I wouldn't stop you from saying that, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I get so much value out of that, watching that movie, even on rewatches, because I've seen it twice now. Yeah. I had so much fun the second time around. I think it's a fantastic movie. I don't think it's good, but I think in terms of these movies, it's the 4th most value it has brought to my life on any of these movies. I think anyone should watch this movie, especially like nerds of art. Just in general, if you like got a little into Shakespeare in high school, or you like just like old films of any kind, you'll be like, this is my bag. I think just universally.
Yeah, absolutely. It has so many of those like old sort of traditional thematic approaches to filmmaking, and then with the way the movie is presented and structured. Yeah, and everything else about it just completely blows it out of the water. If I sat here and told someone who had never heard of Megalopolis the basic arc of it, and they were aware of other movies, they'd be like, oh, that sounds like a lot of other movies. But it's not like a lot of other movies.
It's to other movies.
Really stands on its own.
It's complete own beast. No one can put a pin in it. They don't know what it is. Yeah. Still to this day. It's ridiculous. I love it.
Absolutely.
Number 3?
Number 3... I'm looking at it because I'm looking at what I wrote and deciding if I want to change it. I think I am going to change it. Guessing. I'm going to put Anora at my number 3.
Okay.
You almost talked me down from it just now, but I still think it's a fantastic movie.
It's a great movie.
It was number 2 up until this point. I think it's so visually impressive. I love just the fact that, and this is something else that I'll talk about that it's later on, is I really just appreciate seeing movies that have these simple story structures that are so elevated by like their soundtrack and the filmmaking that goes on in them. And I think that's part of what like makes Anora so good. Its one weakness is kind of when the pacing a little bit to me, and when the rich boy kind of is not dips out of the picture for a little bit, and we got to watch everybody else. It's totally has like screwball comedy like elements in it. It's super grounded in reality, as we've said, but I don't know, I think it's just like a really thrilling and exciting movie. And at the very end of it, I still don't really know what to make of the end of it or exactly what the takeaway is supposed to be, but it's not in a way that's bad, but in a way that's like really, I guess, human and conflicting. And like, how do you feel to be this person at the end of this movie, and having done all of those things and experience everything that she did, and then go back to
it cannot be reality easy to make a movie that real in terms of like conveying reality that well.
Exactly. And then it's kind of like, how do you deal with that? And I think it's fantastic. And everyone should watch it. I really want, for some reason, I was telling my mom about it, and I like want my parents to watch it, but I'm also frightened by the idea of them actually seeing it a little bit.
Well,
if you can get past the ass, you'll have a great time.
I made my mom and sister watch my number 3 movie, and they loved it. And that movie was Alien Romulus. Let me tell you about this film. Perfect horror in my my particular kind of horror. You watch it and it feels like you're playing Resident Evil. That's I played 2 full almost 3 full Resident Evil games this year. I'm gonna beat the next one tomorrow, I believe. Okay, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I love this series. That's how it felt watching this movie. You can watch characters pick up key items and use them in other rooms where they traverse through waves of enemies. It's perfect. It's absolute. I love the presentation. I love how many times in this movie you think they're fucked and then they get more fucked. Like on a consistent basis. You don't think they can get more fucked. And they do. It's awesome.
I also love Alien Romulus. I think it's really fantastic action, and it is amazing horror. I have dreams about xenomorphs and then like being around. And
it's awesome.
They frighten me to my very core. They're always skulking around. The only reason that maybe I left it off my list is that movie. You haven't seen the other Alien movies.
That's what I was just gonna say, is like, I was so impressed at how much I loved a movie which I had never seen any other part of the franchise. I thought I'd need to get grouped in or something. Maybe it's just because it was so new to me.
I think that's definitely a testament to how good it is, and the fact the presence of the other Alien movies doesn't hurt it like by comparison, because I think it is like really good, and like really you like it, a lot of other people like it. It definitely stands on its own merits. It's a little bit of an Alien greatest hits. If you're a fan of the franchise, it plays off of so many things from the other Alien movies that weakens the impact of it overall to me, but does not affect my enjoyment, because all the things that it does are things I love about the other Alien movies, and I loved seeing them recontextualized in this way. It's not like a breakout reinvention of the franchise, but it's a fun, really good movie.
I think playing Resident Evil, I see that exact same thing where the formula just gets recycled and I eat it up every time. Like, okay, Resident Evil 5, you can play co-op, which is the first of the series to do it like that. And I'm playing it with my friend Kayvon, and we'll just be like, oh yeah, here's the fucking evil lab in the 5th act. This is like pretty textbook. We're getting to the end of the game. Big demon monsters are going to come out of giant test tubes, and we're going to have to use all the ammunition we have to kill it. And we're gonna love it, because that's what we come here for, you know? It's not like, I don't know, it's not cliche, it's not overdone. It's fun every time.
And if that is the reason, if that movie is the reason that there is no Gus in season 3 of Industry, I'm completely fine with it.
He did so well.
He was so good.
He did so well.
He did so good. I would be really interested to see them like kind of build off those characters as well, because I do think that is also one of the really good strengths of the movie. Is that for as much of those some of those characters are homages to past characters in the Alien franchise, we're also unique and have their own intrigue that I thought was really really good.
I think another thing that made it so much my bag is that I've been consuming a lot of media that has to do with like android rights to some extent. So like there's an android in that, and you're thinking about ethics, like, is this a real person?
It's a growing issue.
Pluto on Netflix is a really good series to watch that delves into that. I think in a way Lies of P, they just replace androids with puppets. It's the same thing. Nier Automata is a game I just beat recently, so like rewatching it recently, it was just on the mind that like that theme comes up a lot in the shit that I watch and play, and I eat it up every time. So I think that just it hit a spot for me, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your number 2, man?
That's a good question. Oh, my number 2 is Dune 2.
We both know what our top 2 is at this point, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's been that for that, and
it's been like that the whole year. That's crazy.
This is part of why I was dreading doing this, because I'm about to come and tell a bunch of people nothing not that revolutionary. But Dune 2 is my number 2. What is there to be said about it?
It's so good.
It's so good. It's so cool to see, and Hollywood has tried to give us our own Lord of the Rings type franchise so many times. We've had our new Star Warses and our new Avengers and our these things, and some of those movies I enjoy and I love, but this is like,
it's special,
taking
man.
a big blockbuster action franchise and then like giving it all of the depth and the intrigue and like the characters and the background of like a Lord of the Rings type thing that's just, I think, probably gonna live forever. To a lot of people will be the definitive version of the medium. I have a couple criticisms of it, having read the book, and that's just that I think that and it's hard because it's some of the things that I was personally connected to in the book, I feel like get like drained out of the movie a little bit. Dune 2, the one thing that I love, my big criticism of Dune, the first one, Dune, was that Jessica, the mom, Paul's mom, has like, in the book, I was reading it, I found her to be like such a badass, cool character, and I really enjoyed her character in the book as well. The first Dune, I thought that she does not get enough time to like show how sick she is, other than like one scene that I can think of. Dune 2, she is insane and awesome.
I agree.
It's super cool to see her be like a powerful entity unto herself. That's one of my favorite parts in the movies. A little bit more acknowledgement that Gurney is a weird, funny musical man, because that's something that comes up in the book all the time, as people are always like, Gurney, sing us that song, and then he like sings the song and he plays guitar, and there's some more allusions to that. My one criticism of it essentially is maybe it needs to make let these characters be a little more fun at times, but everything about it is amazing. In the opening scene, when everyone comes down out of one of the ships and they're walking along the sand, and then they just start to float. Like jaw on the floor. So sick. Last thing I have to say about Dune 2 is when I saw it with my friends, one of my friends' girlfriends was there, and there's a picture of her in the theater sitting down with her snacks, and she is watching Dune 1 explained on her phone before the movie starts, and I love her for that.
Javier Bardem, so good in that movie. Hilarious. Just great performances all around, but I always think of him just being like a real comic relief that still doesn't seem out of place to any degree. Like, it's just, and I just love the themes of prophecy that go through the whole thing, that it's like inescapable in that sense.
Definitely.
Or is it just everyone's belief or fear in prophecy that lets it go the way that it does? I just think that's really cool.
Absolutely. That's like what it is like. In that sense, all prophecies are self-fulfilling if they have the belief.
They have aura
behind them.
You could say they have aura.
I guess they do. T. Higgins.
Yeah, football.
He's on my fantasy team. He scored 40 points.
Nice. I got second in fantasy.
Brief aside to talk about my fantasy football season. It went terribly at the beginning of the year. They sent me a grade, and I was supposed to go 14-1. That did not happen, and it was really bad. I went 4-11, but I did win our consolation bracket by a landslide behind T. Higgins' 40 points. So shout out to him.
Nice. Yeah, my first year in fantasy football, got second. I lost by like 8 points.
Brutal.
It happens, man. It happens.
It does.
Jared Goff had a great night, I think. That's all it came down to. And I had some shitters for a defense and a kicker. But we don't got to get into that because my number 2 movie is Challengers, which I believe is your number 1 at this point. My number 1 is Dune 2, so we could just kind of talk about them interchangeably.
Yeah, sure.
Challengers is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love everything about it, I think. I love that Archie doesn't talk for the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
I love the score. I love some of the tennis shots, the way I don't know how they did the ball getting hit back and forth. I'm not a movie production nerd, but I don't get that at all.
I don't know
That's
that
magic.
shit either.
That's magic.
I know.
It's another great, simple story, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Like, we saw it last year with Past Lives as well. A story that you could just explain in 2 seconds. A Real Pain is another one we didn't list this year, but super simple. It works. If you're a good writer, you can make anything work. You don't need complexity, and I love that. It got a lot of people into tennis. I don't know what else to say. I think Luca Guadagnino's a great director. He did a fantastic job.
He really did.
Of making these characters shine. Yeah. There's so much depth to these characters.
I am sad that I haven't seen Queer as of yet. But
me neither.
Yeah, Challengers is my number 1. I think it's... I kind of went back and forth between it and Dune 2. I rewatched Challengers last night. The thing that probably puts it above of Dune 2 is, well, Dune 2 is Denis Villeneuve at the top of his game and working with everybody else who's at the top of their game, whether it's the composition, the cinematography, the actors' performances. Everyone is doing their absolute best. In Challengers, everyone is doing their absolute best, and it elevates the movie and the story so much more to me to make it like a good movie than Dune kind of does. Dune is a big blockbuster production. It kind of needs all of those things to come into place to even exist at all. Yes. You could make Challengers and it could be a way worse movie based on just that story, which it could also be said for Dune 2, but the level that everyone is operating at in that movie brings it up so much more. It makes it so exciting and so fun.
Yep.
And it's just such a tightly well written and completely well executed on every front.
It really is.
And it is almost a movie that has no business to be as good as it does on paper. Yeah. But I think it's the best movie to come out.
I also love that Justin Kuritzkis, who wrote Challengers, is married to I want to say Celine Song.
Yeah, who
from Past Lives. Yeah. 2 movies about 3 individuals.
I wonder what's going on in their personal lives.
Right? But super simple plots. I guess I wouldn't... Challengers is a more true love triangle.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
You can still, I guess, describe Past Lives as a love triangle. Because, in classical sense, a love triangle is not... It doesn't go all directions, which pisses me off a little bit. But Challengers is just pushing it to the limit, I think.
With Past Lives, the whole thing is the love triangle is in the sense of how do the past relationships affect the current one, even when they're not entirely present in this situation.
Another great film.
Challengers, everyone is super present. Oh, also a couple of my friends after they saw this movie thought that it was going to have more sex in it, and they were like, I thought there's more sex with tennis players. No, it's sexy. It's a sexy movie, and it's a good movie.
In insane amounts of sexual tension. They just milk that. Yeah. So you don't look for sex because you've had enough of it psychologically.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very well
what makes it so great.
But yeah, no, I think that's all I have to say about our 2 favorite movies.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Me too. Those were the movies. There are so many movies this year that I've heard such good things about that I haven't seen, that I wish I could have talked about.
We were going to see Nosferatu. We were going to see Bob Dylan. It just didn't work out schedule-wise. I'll probably watch both this week, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Maybe I'll... I don't think I'll see them before I put this up. But if I do, maybe I'll... If I feel they're better than something, I'll add an addendum.
Yeah, sure.
But
just if you walk out of the movie and think that it should have a place, please take like a voice note on your phone and just cut that in.
Okay, okay, that can be done. Maybe I might be able to watch one today. Anyways, I usually on the award show, I remember this halfway through this list, I briefly mentioned what my favorite video game of the year is.
Yeah,
and
it
I
takes
feel
some
like
time to do
you
that.
also have one, which is like you've been gaming.
I have. I don't know that I've been playing games that were released this year.
Balatro came out this year, buddy.
That's okay. Then that's my game
there
of the
you
year.
go.
That's true. It
that
was
game
nominated.
Changed the world. It really did. One dude made it. It swept the Game Awards for everything it was nominated for, except for Game of the Year.
Yeah, dude.
Incredible. And also in a year where there were other good indie games, like Animal Well was very good. I think my actual Game of the Year is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think it's so good that it warrants playing the game before it, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
Just to sit through 30 hours of a pretty good game to play this spectacular game after, I think is so worth it. But great year for video games. We had the Elden Ring DLC, which was such a cultural moment. I remember it came out a week before going to visit you in Montreal.
Yeah.
And I had to grind through that game.
Yeah.
Just to risk spoilers. So what I did is I played so much of that game over 4 days, and then got to the final boss and I was like, at least there's nothing left to be spoiled. I'll finish this boss when I get back. And then I went over to Montreal and I had a great time, and then I came back and I beat it. And that was just a very important era of doing fuck all in my life.
Yeah.
And it came at the perfect time for me.
I still haven't played the DLC.
Good luck.
Thank you. I would like to.
So fucked.
I gotta finish the base game.
You gotta be Fire Giant, my friend.
I know, but I felt like I participated in it by buying Elden Ring
No, you
when
did.
the DLC came out.
You did.
Which was great.
Yeah.
When the DLC came out, I was like, I need to be a part of this in some way. Now is the time for me to actually buy it.
And it was a big moment for Elden Ring as a whole, because also it was booming in popularity because a lot of people were doing like marathon streams of it. So I think From Software made a lot of money, and they're putting out a game this year which is completely unlike anything they've ever done before. And I don't think they're going to sell it at full price. I think it's going to be more of like a co-op, like maybe $50-$60 kind of thing, which will be fun. Yeah, Night Rain. So I'll play that, but I think it's a smoke screen that Hidetaka Miyazaki's putting up. He's going, guys, look at this, the fun thing we're doing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go make the greatest thing of all time, because he's a genius.
Yeah,
he's gonna do this till he dies.
Yeah,
and thank the Lord for him.
Is it cross-platform, Night Ring, or did they say no?
Steelers so far at -6 yards to Bengals 110, close. Cross-platform, probably, but I'm not sure.
Sick.
A lot of games are cross-platform now, but I have no idea, because they're never really prided for their online play on when it comes to From Software. Like, they go for the single-player experience, and then you get like co-op summons. But this one seems very geared towards 3-player.
Seems like it's entirely that.
Yeah, apparently, according to leaks, you can't do 2-player co-op.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It's either 1 or 3, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to play that. I like Risk of Rain, which seems to be a very similar kind of co-op experience. That's the closest thing I can compare it to from what I've seen in promo. So I'm really excited to play that with my buds. But yeah, Final Fantasy was the best that came out this year. But there was so much good shit. I played so many games.
Yeah.
What a year for me doing nothing. I graduate like I spent so much of the last semester of school of my life grinding video games.
Yeah.
And I was so stressed. Like I looked back, crazy. I got like a PlayStation Wrapped, which was like, oh, here's your hours. And the last like month of my schooling, where I look back and I think I was so fucking stressed. I also played like 200 hours of Overwatch, you know? Like, it was just, it doesn't add up.
You found the time.
It doesn't add up at all. But what a year. I think gaming's never been in such a good place.
Yeah. My last semester of school was so unserious.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I was writing my thesis, but I had a lighter course load, and it was I discovered this new thing where if you don't save all your work until the very last minute, then it's actually a lot more chill. So, wish I'd learned that sooner.
Awesome.
If I have to give a game of the year, which I'll say Bolotro. Why not?
So good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I didn't realize one guy made it, but I was thinking about that the other day, how I was like, this game is literally just got to be like, at its the heart of its code, just thousands of if statements running over and over and over again.
People flame the developer for being so bad at developing games in terms of like coding. Because it's like the game still exists on his computer in a file called card game test or something. Like, it doesn't, like, he was just trying out shit, you know, but he stumbled upon gold. Like, it's a achievement in game design, truly. But love that game so much.
And the things I always think are fun in games, as much as I do love Elden Ring and like FromSoft games, is I just want the mechanics of the game to be fun. So that is the only thing that I care about. And people come to me and they're like, this game has a great story, and I'm like, that's nice. It's a fun bonus. If playing the game is not fun for me, I do not there is no way that I will grind myself through something that I don't think is that fun to play, no matter like how good the story is.
I'm totally with you there. I mean, I've played games that I love that are literally books. Like Disco Elysium is just a book where you talk to people. And then like visual novels that are literally just like you press X, and they've been incredible, but I treat them as books, you know, like I don't, because there's no gameplay. And then there's games where they have an incredible story and I just can't get with the combat. And then my friends call me an idiot for not liking how God of War 2018 plays. And then I'd lower the difficulty down to easy because I'm not trying to prove anything, and then I have a better time. But you know, if I'm only in it for the story, then I'm gonna do that shit because I don't think you did a very good job of the other stuff, or I just don't know how to maneuver it, and that's fine. You got to find the value in the game, and you know.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about the shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. About the difficulty.
No, but sometimes that needs to be altered in order to get around your gripes.
Yeah,
with how the game is structured.
I'm with you on that. It lower whatever makes the game more fun.
Yeah,
if it's lowering the difficulty.
I am in a place. I've never been more open to do that because I play all the FromSoft games and I play them to torture myself.
You have done,
and there's nothing left in my life to prove
yourself.
But yeah, should we do music?
Let's do the music because it's the longest part.
We have so much to cover. Let's try to be brief. I honestly don't think I have much to say about like 20 to 16.
Yeah, that's fine.
But we can, you know, it'll just slow down as we go, really.
Yeah, which is fine. How do you want to start?
I can just say my number 20.
You were going to say number 20? Do you want to do honorable mentions?
Yeah, I do have one. You can say yours real quick as I bring up mine.
Right. Sorry, I'm talking now. My honorable mentions are the Billie Eilish album.
Yeah.
Hit Me Hard and Soft, which I'm not that crazy about, but I did want to like talk about because I've listened through it a couple times just to sort of do my due diligence about it. I think it sounds fantastic. I think it's like the best produced album. It's not necessarily like that she's done. Best produced album that she's done.
Sure.
I think it sounds really, really good, and that's like a cool thing
Phineas
to me.
Doesn't fuck around, man.
Yeah. Other than that, it's not as much my thing. The Jack White album, No Name.
Sure.
Really, really cool guitars that are pretty kick-ass, but again, not too much else drawing it to me outside of that. And then the other one that I'll give here is 13-inch Frank Beltram Italian Stiletto with Bison Horn Grips by Shoo Shoo.
Sure. Yeah, I never listened to the new Shoo Shoo.
Which I thought was a super fantastic just art rock album.
I love that shit. That's my bag.
All right.
My one honorable mention is everyone's getting involved. A tribute to Talking Heads, Stop Making Sense, which is the anniversary album of Stop Making Sense, where they do covers of every single song in the movie, in the album, with different people. So many genius collaborators here. You know, Miley Cyrus was involved. Tizo Touchdown kills it.
Yeah.
Gene Dawson, Kevin Abstract, Tori Maud Lord. Like, there's just so many cool people, and they all do such a good job of giving every... Like, I don't like a cover that just sounds like the original song. I think they all come at each song from just a different angle.
Yeah.
And you can tell when one of them just, like, really cares about the music, you know? They'll keep in certain ad-libs that David Byrne only did in the movie, and you're like, oh yeah, they grew up on this shit. Like, they knew that's the best part of the song.
100%.
And it just warms my heart listening to that album. It's so fun. I think Tizo Touchdown should have done more of it. I think, honestly, I know it was one artist per song. Let him just do the whole album again. Give us another album. It's just Tizo Touchdown doing it all. Because he's the closest thing we have to new David Byrne. He's so wacky. He's so fun.
Sure.
He's so joyful.
Sure.
He killed, I want to say, Making Flippy Floppy.
Yeah.
He did so good.
Actually, there are two other things that I was going to shout out. And I realized one of them was because I didn't want to get into it, but we can get into it later.
Sure.
Saint Chroma is on my honorable mentions.
Chromacopia?
Chromacopia.
Yeah.
By Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah.
And the Challengers soundtrack, which I suppose doesn't count.
Trent Reznor,
Atticus Ross. It's out by virtue of the fact that it's not a studio album.
Yeah.
My number 20.
Go for it.
You want me to go for it? My number 20 is Britpop by A.G. Cook, which is a
fun
3-disc,
very
incredibly long
so long
collection of electronic music, but it's fun to listen to. I think it's like a fun thing to dip your toe in at a random point and just kind of like explore. It's too long.
It's so long
for me to like put it any higher than that, but as like a project that's out there and like I think it's worth exploring. I think it's super fun. I think it has some cool highlights on it, and it's fun to explore you know, what those other PC Music Collective people are kind of up to
definitely
this year.
It's such a fun little space in the music world, and he's killing it.
Yeah,
as we'll discuss later, I'm sure. No, my number 20, You'll Have to Lose Something by Spirit of the Beehive.
Nice.
It's such a fun band.
Yeah.
Famously Mitski's favorite band.
Yeah. They had a tough year, so shout out to them. Buy their music or
I don't even know their
something.
lore.
They had they were on tour, and their trailer that was full of all of their gear got stolen.
Oh, that's brutal.
So they had to like cancel their tour and go home.
Brutal. Last year, their EP was, I think, my favorite EP of the year. Blew me the fuck away.
Yeah.
This album, also very good.
They're sick. I didn't spend a ton of time with it, but recently I had been coming back to it and listening to it a little bit, and they're a really cool band.
Yeah.
I really like what they do.
19?
My 19's Bright Future by Adrian Olenker.
What an album.
Which is fantastic and is really good, and so much good things has been spelled about it.
Yeah.
It's a little too low key for my personal taste.
Sure.
It does have moments on it that are a little bit more engaging. Because of that, I found it a little hard to get into as a front to back album listening experience, which is what holds it on. The songs are great. They're so good. But I thought it was an improvement on her last solo album, and it's great. It's really good.
She's such a talented songwriter.
Of course.
My 19, King of the Mischievous South. I believe it's King of the Mischievous South Volume 1.
It's Volume 2.
2?
Yeah.
2, thank you.
Volume 1's like one of his first like mixtapes.
Yes. Incredible Denzel Curry record that is so fun.
Yeah,
I love fun Denzel Curry.
Me too.
It's like a return to Zoo in my mind, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like Unlocked was also fun, but like Taboo and Melt My Eyes to Your Future are very like, you know, introspective.
Yeah.
I think Taboo is still his best shit he's ever put out personally, but like I love to see him have a good time.
It's really fun to see people do like big conceptual projects.
Yeah.
But then it's also cool to be like, here are a bunch of really good songs.
Yes.
And that's totally
So
allowed.
fun.
Especially
I had
when
a
you've
blast.
spent so much time doing those larger, more conceptual things.
Yes. I don't really have much more to say about it. I think Sked is a very fun song.
I liked Hot One.
Hot One's a good one. It's a party the whole time.
It is. It's sick.
I love a party the whole time album.
It is. My number 18 is Alligator Bites Never Heal.
What an
by
album.
Doechii. What a
Doechii is so
debut.
fucking cool. Unanimously loved rapper from what I see.
So sick, dude. I love everything that she's doing. All the visuals that she's doing are so good. She's had all the live performances I've seen are amazing.
Yes.
I love seeing like as we move further and further away from like which we're already well past, but the peaks of like cloud rap and like SoundCloud and stuff like that, and this era that still kind of persists a little bit of more on the mumble rap side of things.
Yeah.
Which I acknowledge is mostly gone. I love seeing someone who's like so static and like just really dynamic and punctual with their rapping, and like I feel like when you listen to her, you hear every word that she is saying, and she's so good. She's so talented. That album's a little bit long. Probably it has a few little duds on it, but she's trying so many things. It's so cool. And just another album where I had on and I was like, found myself being like, I'm full on like smiling and like bobbing my head listening to this. It's crazy. I'm so excited to see what else she does.
My favorite thing about that album is hearing the influences just come out at random points. You'll be like, oh, this beat sounds like The Far Side, and she's rapping like ODB for like 2 bars.
She's
and you're like, that's beautiful.
Everything at the wall, and she clearly is someone who like knows her knowledge of like rap and hip hop like goes so deep, and is like that's the kind of music that she wants to make, and
it's so
she's
fun.
trying
and
so many
she's a
things.
good singer.
All sound good. Yeah.
On top of that, she's got it all going for her.
Yeah.
So talented. Can't wait to see what she does next, because we don't get a whole lot of new rappers I get excited about.
No,
lately.
Not lately.
18, Glimmer of God, Gene Dawson.
Oh, nice.
Fun record. Just I like that he's constantly trying to figure out what else he's capable of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun experimentation in here. There are songs where he sounds like Pharrell.
Yeah.
You know, there's songs where he sounds like, I don't know, Earl Sweatshirt. Like, it's just such a weird blend of stuff that I think is so fun. I love that he's stirring the pot. He's not somebody who gets comfortable in anything, and you see that in Chaos Now as well as his previous album. I just think he's always somebody I'm gonna keep listening to because he's so fun. I don't really have much else to say about that record though.
That's fine. 17.
Yeah.
At 17, this might be higher if I read this again, but no title as of 13th of February.
Yeah.
And then with the Palestine death count from Godspeed New Black Emperor. It's
Great
an
record.
amazing album.
Yeah.
I don't have too much to say about it.
No.
I love listening to Godspeed, their stuff. I love how based of a band they are.
Yeah.
And I love that they're still kind of just capable of doing these incredibly long, drawn out, dramatic, instrumental projects without them kind of getting old at all. And they they always find something new to ground it in, and this was like
They do.
really real world tragedy.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
it's a great
really
record.
fantastic
I didn't give it
project.
too much time, like 1 or 2 listens.
It was one of those things where I put on one of those albums when I was playing around with like the stereo system we have in my house. I was like, I'm gonna listen to this through here, and then it just sounded so good.
That's awesome.
The
That
room.
is awesome. 17, This Is How Tomorrow Moves by Biba Doobie.
Nice.
She's great. I love her. She's getting a little more I don't want to say singer-songwritery because that doesn't really tell you what I mean, but more toned down, more emotional, less uppity, like more just in tune with her emotions, a little more intimate, a little more Fiona Apple, a little more Alanis Morissette at times. Whereas before she was much more of a rocker in Beatopia and prior, which I love. But this is more, she's maturing, she's finding new ways to do music, and I support her through it. That's great. It's awesome.
That's the Rick Rubin of it all.
Well, that's the thing. I think you know what's in 2025. We're gonna find out the sham that Rick Rubin is. He doesn't know how to play an instrument. He doesn't produce. He just sits around and he gives people advice. He's more of a therapist than a producer.
Yeah,
and I think that's great. That's fine.
He's never claimed to be anything else.
But people still assume that he like did Yeezus. You know.
Yeah, but well, we can go on a Rick Rubin tangent another time.
Yes, but I do love the guy. I own his book. Haven't read a page of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how much was him. I don't think we'll never ever know how much of anything he did was him.
He's the ultimate locker room guy.
Yeah, he's like a holistic sports coach. You know, he makes them meditate, but he doesn't actually run drills. He just gets them in tune with their mind, and maybe that is valuable.
He's Phil Jackson.
You think
the Bulls won 6 championships and the Lakers won 3 without Phil Jackson?
He is incredibly
so.
Phil Jackson.
You think Dennis Rodman was that effective without Phil Jackson? Not sure.
It's true. It's true. I'm more of a Beatopia guy, but I did love that album.
Yeah, fair enough. My 16, that's where we're at, right?
You're at 16, yeah.
Is Endlessness by Nala Sinfro, I think is how you say her name. It's like this ambient, electronic, instrumental album. The cover is gorgeous.
It is.
And it's really fun. It's a really fun listen. I've heard lots of people say very good things about it, have it like higher on lists.
Yeah.
I just think it's really beautiful. It has these moments on it. It feels so the production feels like so organic. Like you're listening to it and you're like, that's like sounds like a flower blooming. Sure. And like I love that about it. That's and there has all these amazing moments that just kind of like creep up and it grows and goes all these different places and have these moments that come out of nowhere and you're like, whoa, that was really cool, and then it moves on.
Yeah, that seems like my bag. My 16 has a very similar title to Endlessness. It's Timeless by Kate Renata.
Nice.
What a fun record. He's so in his bag. He's always in his bag.
Yeah.
He doesn't age. I think he'll do this till he's 80.
I hope
honestly.
So.
I think he has the formula down for making fun electro dance records with your favorite R&B pop singers.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he has to try that hard. It's awesome.
Yeah. He doesn't have to.
There's so many great collaborations in there. I just re-listened to it today as I was frantically putting together my order of the list. And nice. I was like, I loved it more than I remembered. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And it's also, he does a deluxe album right in the sense that he just adds 4 songs and not anything more, and they're good songs. Yeah. So Pink Panthers is on the deluxe.
Sick. Wasn't it already a double album?
It's long. It's like an hour. An hour 11 with the extra
double,
4
but
songs.
It's got to be close.
It's big. It's a meaty album. But yeah, so much fun. Really love that record. 15?
Nice. My 15 is Prelude to Ecstasy by The Last Dinner Party, which is something that came out earlier in the year and I neglected to listen to until fairly recently.
Yeah.
But everything you've heard is true and it's really good and fun and it's another great debut. And
yeah, I never heard it, but I have heard
it's sick. It's got amazing moments, super fun, pop, rock, everything you could want. Good times.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like,
that's it. That's
it. I want to not spend too much time on this bottom half.
Don't spoil anything. Since I'll be listening to that. 15. Milton plus Esperanza by Milton Nascimento and Esperanza Spalding.
Oh, I don't know about this.
Okay. Milton Nascimento still is a musician from Brazil. He made an incredible album that a lot of music nerds like called Clube da Esquina, which is like bossa nova kind of shit. He's a genius. Okay. I've been going into his backlog and being obsessed with him.
Okay.
Esperanza Spalding is a more modern like jazz singer. She's very talented. She went to see Milton Nascimento, who's like now in his 80s, and she made some beautiful music with him. It's just very intimate. Like his voice is about an octave deeper than it was in his prime, you know, because he's aged, he's wise. They cover A Day in the Life by the Beatles. They cover some of his old music. It's just such a fun mix of songs. They just complement each other so well, and it's slow, but if you love them, you'll love the record. It's so easy to get into, I feel. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say about that. They do a great job. Very jazzy, very fun.
Nice. 14, I have The Sunset Violet by Mount Kimby,
Didn't
which
hear that yet.
is a cool mix of electronic music and rock music, and has a couple really sick King Cruel features on it.
Fuck yeah.
Whom I love.
Me too.
And I think Mount Kimby's a cool band, and they make cool stuff. And this album's super spacey at times, super atmospheric.
Yeah.
And that is what I really like from them, and that's why I like their album.
Right on. 14, I have 2-star in the Dream Police, which we talked about a bit in the last month about how we felt about it. And I wondered why, 'cause immediately it was an album that I, like, on first listen, I was like, okay, and now it's done, and I will go on with my life. I didn't hold on to anything.
Yeah.
And I actually remember that happening to me with Absolutely as well, which was Dijon's record.
Right.
Which has a lot of McGee on it.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't say this album is by McGee.
By
2-star in the Dream Police McGee.
Yes.
Okay. He was on Absolutely with Dijon, worked a lot on that, and I remember with that album growing on me quite a bit as time progressed. And I think it's a consequence of how they mix the vocals so behind, so it just feels like a demo the entire time.
Yeah.
But it has this like. It has this effect where, like, the more you listen to it, the more you love it, really. Like, I find with a lot of albums that are comprised of demos and are mixed similarly, I have the same thing. John Bapp has a really good series of demos that he releases from time to time that I adore every one of them, because it's just so personal. It's so unpolished. And I think this is a polished record, but I think McGee does a good job of exploiting that effect of, like, it sounds bedroomy. It sounds very, it sounds really personal.
Yeah.
And he's a really good songwriter. And I think he's getting noticed for that. Way more than I think either him or Dijon got noticed for Absolutely. I just keep hearing McGee's name get thrown around all the time.
He's having a huge moment. He's had a huge
year.
And
I can't wait to see what he does in the future.
And he's released a couple other songs post that album, which I really liked. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what he does next. I like, he released Rockman, I believe is the single.
I heard that.
I like that a lot because I just felt like it had less of that demo-y effect.
Yeah.
I love it. His guitar playing is really cool. As the whole project overall, I found
he's very smart.
A little difficult as like a whole thing, but I love some of what he's put out in some of the songs.
Yeah. No, every time I listen to it, I like it more, honestly. 13?
13, I got Pinball by Mike.
Sure, yes.
I listened to that. Sick. I went back to that album so much this year.
Mike rocks,
I love
man.
Mike. I think he's so cool. I think the kind of like stuff that he makes is so interesting and so different from so much other rap music.
Totally.
And he keeps doing his thing on this album, and I think it's great.
Yeah. I there's never been a Mike album where I don't love what he's doing.
Yeah, I love his really
track.
deep voice and super heady ass
he found
lyrics
his space,
that he's
man.
got. Yeah,
it's awesome. It's so fun. Great homework artist for me.
Absolutely.
I love, like, back when I had school. It's hard now that I've done that my whole life and now I don't have to anymore. What do I call it now? Great doing work at your job music.
Great wagey music.
Great wage theft music. Number 13? Was it?
Yep.
Dark Times by Vincent Staples.
Nice.
I almost forgot this album existed because I was scrolling through my albums, and it has the least noticeable album cover of all time.
It does. Yes.
It is just charcoal gray.
Yeah.
Can barely read the title.
Yep.
So docking points for that, Mr. Vince, but it's probably intentional. But it's such a good record. I think, personally, if you look at like his discography over time, we had like Summertime of 06 is probably like his big blow up moment, right? After that was the one where he's got a big head. Prima Donna, mini EP, which is similar vibes. I quite liked that little EP or whatever you want to call it. And then he took Big Left Turn with Big Fish. Loved that. Big Left Turn with FM. Loved that. And then a final, in my opinion, left turn with his, I think it's a self-titled. Right? Or what is it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Vince Staples.
And that one's very introspective, and I think he's been going along those lines. Ever Since.
Yeah, the
right?
last 3 projects he put
So there was
out,
Ramona
I think
Park,
all
Broke My Heart, and then there was
fit
Dark
into
Times.
that.
And for me, I wasn't totally amazed by his self-titled. When
Yeah.
it dropped, I was like, this is fine. I don't have anything against it, but it didn't resonate with me like his past projects. I think ever since then, he has improved the formula. So Ramona Park, Broke My Heart, I think is even better than self-titled, and I think this is his best yet in the more calm down, introspective. He was that tweet. You see that tweet? He linked up with the alchemist and got into his introspective bag. You ever see that?
No, I don't
All
think
right,
so.
I'll find
maybe.
you that tweet later.
Yeah, that album was sick. I also really like it. I don't think I would like it as much as Ramona Park Broke My Heart.
Sure.
I think I probably would need to listen to some more of the later half of it a little bit more. I listened to it a ton when it came out, but I also, when I was putting together this list, I didn't go back to too much stuff. I tried to keep it on things that I had listened to a lot.
Yeah.
Naturally through the year than going up and digging up old stuff. If I had listened to it, probably would be on my list.
Right. I loved it. I think it's just fun. It's just fun.
Yeah. Sure.
What's your 12?
In Waves by Jamie XX.
Sure. Yeah.
You
Fun.
like to dance? He
Who
does.
doesn't? Who doesn't?
And you'll want to when you hear this. It's great.
It's JVXX
It would be higher.
doing him, man.
I think some of the highs are really good and probably up there with like albums higher up on my list. I'm a little put off by having a woman just saying things in the background on electronic albums.
Yeah.
I just think it happens a lot for some reason. Happens a lot on this album.
Yeah.
It's my only, but the beats are so good and it's so fun.
Yeah.
And it's funky. And
It is funky.
who doesn't want to dance like a baddie on the floor?
And that's the catchphrase of the show, actually.
Exactly.
12, Empathogen by Willow Smith.
Oh,
I think she just
interesting.
goes by Willow on the Spotify. But she's an incredibly talented musician. We just gotta get that out of the way now.
Yeah.
She is so good at doing music. This album, she just becomes an artist I mentioned earlier, Esperanza Spalding. She's just the new her. She's an incredible jazz singer. She has so much control over her voice.
Yeah.
Really fun collaborations on there with a lot of different artists. I think she's just locked the fuck in, personally.
She's the best kind of Nepo baby, where she is using all of the resources at her disposal to make really good stuff and not shitty stuff for no reason.
Incredibly impressive to me how good that album is.
Of course, 100%. I need to listen to it.
You do. Well. Absolutely. 11.
Only God Was Above Us by Vampire Weekend.
Sure. Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I put it on and I was like, this is really good. This is a really good Vampire Weekend album. They're throwing it back to the old stuff with some improvements. Every song's good. Every time I listen to it, I pick out a new song that I like. I love that era of music, and it's really fun.
Right on.
When people make stuff like that, that's good. Vampire Weekend.
Yeah.
God Was Above Us.
Fire. Where is mine?
Number 11.
Nothing by Lewis Cole, and I gotta get the name of the orchestra right. Metropole Orchestra and Jules Buckley are the other two collaborators. They fucked around and gave Lewis Cole an entire orchestra to make Lewis Cole music with, and damn did he deliver.
Yeah. Well, he's done that before, hasn't he? Not? Not on an album.
Well, when he tours, when we saw him on tour, there were some shows that were a regular band, and there were some shows like ours where we got a big band, which is like a classic setup for like old jazz, right?
Yeah.
Big band jazz. It's a whole genre. So he has like, he had a percussionist alongside. Well, did he have a percussion? He definitely had a baritone sax and then horns. He was doing he had backup singers. So it was pretty in depth. And then he was the drummer and he played synth. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
I think he just thought okay, this big band shit's working out. Let me get the biggest band.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking cool. It's so fun. It doesn't sound, there are songs that sound orchestral. There are songs that are just funk bangers. And the orchestra just has to play along with it. It's awesome. Like, it's so fun. I bumped it up so many spots today just on a re-listen because I was like, man, he's having so much fun and I love it. And I forgot how much fun it is. But yeah, he's a genius. Anything he makes, I eat it up. That's my 11. What's your 10?
Oh yeah, my 10 is Marsha Shauna by Father John Misty.
Yeah,
which I think is like front to back pretty much perfect, other than one song on it which I cannot stand.
Okay. I'm curious.
I forget the name of the song. I blocked it out of my mind. Stay Young. He just sings Stay Young, and that's the big vocal, that's the big choral hook.
Yeah.
But I'll talk about the good things. The good things, I don't know. Maybe it's the last Father John Misty album. I don't know.
No.
He seemed to allude to that. He seemed to say that it like feels like it could be. That's not really his intention, but that's just like kind of what he made in a sense. Because he did this greatest hits thing. Oh, Bengals takeaway. Let's go.
Bengals. Joe Burr.
Yeah. Okay. I love Father John Misty. I saw him, I don't think it was this year. I think I saw him in 2023.
Yeah.
And his show was fantastic. He was such a good performer. It like really recontextualized all his music for me.
That's great.
I love what he does here. He's playing across like everything that he's ever done. There's weird Josh Tillman things in it where he kind of like is playing this character who's like a total party boy douchebag, which is not something that I think you always get from the kind of music that he makes on the surface, but that is what a lot of the songs are about.
Sure.
Is about him being kind of like just the worst type of guy.
That's
and
fun.
Yeah, and I think the album's like really fantastic. It has these really, really long songs on it at a couple moments.
Right on.
Like Time Just Makes Fools of Us All. I was listening to that to the car on my way to the ferry the other day, and I got to like 9 minutes, and I was like, this is still on, and I haven't gotten tired of it at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just think it's like a really fantastic album. I wasn't expecting it to be this high, but
there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
It'd be interesting if he stopped making music, because then by relation, Kendrick Lamar would stop putting out albums because they only drop in the same years.
Yeah.
And he's cursed by him. They dropped on the same day this year.
Yeah. I think,
crazy.
Yeah. I'm sure he would still do stuff. Actually, I said the name of that album wrong. Mahash Mahashana.
Yep.
I said Marsha Shauna. It's Mahash Shauna. And all the things I say still stand based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 10. Your 10?
It was my 10. Your
my
10?
10 is Alligator Bites Never Heal.
Whoa.
I love that record.
High, top 10.
I love that record. 10. It cracked the top 10. It really grew on me this week because I revisited it. All my original things I liked about it were still there. All the influences that I loved. I love how expressive her voice is. Also this week she dropped the music video for the single, which I don't remember the name of, but it's very good. And she did like a whole like old 90s sitcom set for it, and she put out teaser videos. So she got like Zach Fox, Tizo Touchdown, Sir, Schoolboy Q to all be like actors in her fake sitcom. There was one that's like a fake Mexican soap opera between her and Zach Fox. Neither of them really know how to speak Spanish that well. Hilarious. So just the whole presentation really got me back into like, wow, we're doing this shit again. We're promoting hip hop music in a very engaging, novel way, which I feel like I haven't seen in a very long time. I think she's just locked the fuck in. I don't know what to say. She's killing it. I think everyone loves her. Like I've seen so much love for Doechii recently, which I love to see. And she's got to save
just
TDE.
Doing good shit, and that's how she's getting popular.
Yeah, and Kendrick Lamar, I guess, is leaving TDE. He keeps saying he will. So
I think he technically is off of it, but who's
she's
to
the
say?
future. She's the future. I'm telling
He
you.
might still be associated with it in some way.
No idea.
I wonder if he's just like, as an artist, is not putting music out on it.
No earthly idea, but love her on there.
Well, yeah.
You're number 9, sir.
My number 9 is Charm by Claro.
Hell yeah. Mine's not far off.
I loved it. Cap
It's
out
so
the
fun.
vinyl of it. Somewhere, either on the liner notes or on the packaging of it, somewhere it says third time's the charm.
Yeah.
This is her third album, and I think that
It's adorable.
I don't think the other albums are bad at all. I think they're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But this is just like she sounds so confident, and it's like such a solidification of her sound, and it has all these old pop aesthetics on it, but then it's still very modern. And I just think it's a lot of fun. And another album where every time I listen to it, I kind of like hear new things that I really like, and you could play any part of it for me, and I would like enjoy it. I think it's really a fun, fantastic album. She sounds like she's having so much fun on it.
Yeah.
And it's great.
It really is.
Yeah.
There are points in that album where she'll like hit a chord you're not expecting, or she'll do an inflection you're like, that sounds like fucking Paul McCartney. Like, how does that even fit in here? And she does such a good job of taking risks like that. She's not ever staying I don't know, conventional to any means. She's getting really good at writing music.
For someone who like, again, like her other albums are good and I like them, but I feel like she comes from like maybe a little bit more like bedroom pop sort of aesthetics. Now I think the confidence that's present in the album is so much more like refined and like intentional and put together, and she just seems like she has way more command over her songwriting and her productions to like have so much fun with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think she's killing it. Big fan of her. Claro stocks through the roof.
Absolutely.
Bye. Number 9, No Way to Relax When You're on Fire by Dora Jar. She's an artist I think I found 2 years ago. Because she wasn't present last year on the list. But remember last year, we had a lot of people like Feeble Little Horse and Underscores, and At was another one I found, where it's just like very experimental but cutesy kind of like it's like a contrast between a very soft, inviting voice and abrasive stuff. She's less on the abrasive side, but she makes really good fucking music. I love this album a whole lot. I think the back half of it is extraordinarily perfect.
Okay.
So it takes a while to warm up to like peak, but it's so fun.
Cool.
I'm a big Dora Jar fan. I don't have much else to say about that. 8.
My 8's The New Sound by Jordy Great.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't that into when it first came out, probably because I really just didn't give it enough of a chance and actually like go that deep and listen to all the songs. But it's really good.
It's really good, man.
It's really crazy. I'm still a little like, my initial thoughts on it was that I felt like it wasn't enough of a departure from Black Midi, and that really does just come from his vocals, because he has such a distinct voice.
Yes, it does.
And it is the same guy singing in both his solo and Black Midi stuff, but everything else like really is different.
It really
and, like,
is.
all the Latin influences are crazy. All the horns he's got in there are crazy. It's so kind of like vulgar at points, which I find really interesting.
Well, as you said with Father John Misty, he's playing a piece of shit in this album.
Yeah.
Like an absolute loser piece of shit for a lot of it.
Yeah, 100%.
And it might like creep you out a little bit. It might not be pleasant to listen to.
It definitely does when you listen into it. Like there's those weird like interludes or not interludes, but like conclusion, like almost skits at the end of songs where it becomes like a weird like country thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe. But it's a lot of fun, and some of the songs are heavy and cool, and some are dancey, and and he does sound really gross on a lot of this album, which is crazy because he seems like such a pleasant and put together young man, but all the Black Midi stuff is also super heavy and insane. So you know, I guess he's been doing that crazy stuff.
I experienced like foreshadowing with that record because I'll find this. I retweeted He tweeted one day, like earlier this year, that Clube da Esquina, which is a Milton Nascimento record that I mentioned earlier, is a masterpiece. And I was like, fuck yeah, Jordy Grief's into that. And you see the influence of Latin music all over. Like, no shit, he'd love that record. It's such a great connection. And a lot of jazz fusion. I heard, like, you know, even like Japanese jazz fusion influence. Like, he's just very well versed in a lot of different genres, which I just love to see, man. But yeah, no, I love that record. That was your 8?
That was my 8.
My 8 is Charm.
Nice.
We don't have much more to say about that.
No.
But I love her. Shout out Clara. She's amazing.
Shout out. And she... Only other thing I'll say about Clara, it's so sick that she's so into like hip hop and rap. Yeah. Like she sings background vocals
for Freddie Gibbs.
Awesome. And stuff. It's so cool.
Wish she did that.
She's awesome.
The show we saw of Freddie Gibbs, but
I bet she'd be a great hang outside of all the music.
Oh yeah, no, everyone loves her.
Yeah.
What's your 7?
My 7 is "I Lay Down My Life for You" by JPEG Mafia.
It's actually fucked up that my 876 is your 987. Like, it's just one off.
That is kind of crazy.
It's kind of pissing me off. But I'm gonna have a whole lot of. I'm just going to say what I have to say in your turn, and then we're gonna skip.
Well, we can wait. Well, let's talk about it on yours.
Oh, fine. My 8 or my 7 is the new sound. There you go. What's your 6, Evan? I swear to God, if it's not my. It's you already said by 5.
Oh, did I? Yeah, okay. My 6 is Manning Fireworks by MJ Lenderman.
I have no idea what the fuck that is, Evan. Tell me more.
I don't even know how to describe. I guess he's got a sort of a singer-songwriter, emo, folk kind of thing. There's definitely a lot of like kind of like emo folk, like American Football,
sure, love that
Slaughter
shit.
Beach Dog,
love
Modern
that
Baseball
shit.
kind of influences in it, but then it's a bit heavier, it's a bit more like rockin' and stuff as well. And usually that kind of stuff, it's not that I don't like it, but it's not the kind of thing that I listen to. It comes in waves for me. It's not always on my sort of listening rotation. And this like is just like a really solid album that draws on like all those aesthetics. It has such a good sense of humor on it.
Sure.
His lyrics, he says he's got a beach house out in Buffalo, which is just like a funny thing to say. Some of it's really sad, but it's one of those albums, kind of like the Pup album from years back, where you're like, this is really rocking, but it's also sad at the same time.
Yeah.
She's Leaving You is a song that sounds sad and is sad, but I still love listening to. I think it's That's like great. Really captivating. Sometimes with sad music I struggle with it because I'll be like, this is too sad and I can't be sad all the time. I can't have the sad backing tracks and the sad vocals and just like go through life like that. And so when music has the opportunity to be both those things and to like work in almost any context, which I kind of feel like this does a little bit for me. Like anytime the songs come on, I enjoy them. I think that's just a testament to like how good it is.
Sounds great.
And it's sick. I'd love to go to one of his shows. He is an album that's not on my list and I didn't really get around to listening to. I believe he's married, in a relationship with Waxahachie, who did an album called Tiger's Blood. That was big.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it's called, right?
I remember that. Yeah.
But anyway.
Cool.
Moving on.
Cool. That was your 6?
Yeah.
My 6 is I Lay Down My Life for You, which already I feel so bad to put a JPEG Mafia record this low.
Yeah.
Because he's still incredible.
Yeah.
He's still killing it.
Yeah.
This album feels similarly dark and aesthetic to his last album. Mm-hmm. It's a nighttime album. Both album covers have the nighttime in them.
Yeah.
And that's why I connect them. But I feel that this one incorporates a lot of the beauty that he had built in All My Heroes Are Cornballs into it.
Yeah.
He'll have a ridiculously grimy song and then add the most beautiful strings at the end of it, and it leaves you speechless. I think this record has incredible features. Vince Staples' feature on New Black History is better than anything on his record. He gave his best verse to JPEG Mafia. I don't know why he did that. It's a fumble on his part.
I don't know.
But I thank him for it. Denzel Curry does a great job. My one note with the Denzel Curry feature, which is not his fault, but he says at the end of his verse, he says, "Hey Peggy, let me talk to these motherfuckers real quick," and then JPEG Mafia ends his verse and starts rapping. That's not when you start rapping.
No,
you let him talk to these motherfuckers. So that always gets me a little bit. Buzzy Lee does incredible singing on one of the last songs that I listened to a whole lot, and I can't remember the name of. But she's Steven Spielberg's daughter, which I also learned. But she collabs with Peggy every once in a while. Don't Put Anything on the Bible.
That's great crazy.
Song. I know. It's just a great whole thing. I learned recently that which song is it? Either on or off the drugs, which is a song a lot of people like. He sampled not Future's Turn Off the Lights, but he sampled an AI remix. Not really remix. They fed AI the lyrics to Turn Off the Lights, and they made it into like a soulful 70s song. And then he sampled that, which is a very Peggy thing to do. I don't condone the use of any AI music. I think it's all shit.
Yeah.
But it works. He made a good song out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just very on brand for him.
Yeah. I mean, he's so in his bag. I didn't talk much about what I liked, but yeah, he's so in his bag with sampling.
He's ridiculous.
He's at the top of his game. He's somehow gotten weirder than he ever has been, and more insane. He also is like, I think at the same time, appealing to way more people than he ever has been in spite of those things. I had like people who I would never think would even be aware of.
Sure.
I'm thinking of one instance in particular, but it still sticks out to me. Like one friend of mine who I would never in a million years mark to be like a JPEG Mafia fan. And then she played Either On or Off the Drugs and was like, I really have been into this song. And I was like, how did you find out that this music even existed?
Sure.
And it's sick. It
is.
He's just gotten so good, and he's able to do so much more with the skills that he's like developed in the past than he ever has been. So like, it's crazier. There's way more diversity within the album.
Wizardry at this point. Listen, I think the last 2 or 3 years in a row, he's been my number one artist on Spotify. Yeah. I'm a huge JPEG Mafia glazer, okay? You could put every stereotype on me on that, right? Yeah. Like, I know what I have to hold with that, okay? Yeah. I got the signed record. I met the guy, been to 2 of his shows. The fact that he's number 6 on my list is saying something about this year.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
And even the new sound, which is number 7, and this album, and everything above it, at some point I thought to myself, this might be album of the year. And that's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That's crazy bones, okay?
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
Just know, we got some high potency albums coming your way.
We
for
do.
The back 20 to 30 minutes of this podcast, okay? What's your number 5?
My number 5 is This Could Be Texas by English Teacher.
Yeah.
Which I talked about a little bit.
I listened to that. It was actually quite enjoyable. I liked that. It was fun.
I love it. I think it's so good. Yeah. Black Country New Road fans got to eat a little this year off of that.
It's a lot of that.
It's a lot of in this very similar vein of that, but still distinct.
They are their own thing.
They are definitely their own thing. Yeah. There's just like a lot of like aesthetic things that they definitely share.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was so creative and so unique. It's like another like debut album. It's a new band. They won like the Mercury Prize. I still don't really understand what that is.
Yeah.
But that's how I heard about it because Brat didn't win it.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, what
could
have beaten it? Yeah. And so I listened to it, and I think it's great. And it's another album that I think like it has this really present sense of humor in it that I really enjoy, that even on some of the songs that I am maybe not as crazy about, bring me back to
They
them.
show a lot of personality.
There's so much personality.
Way more than BCNR does.
Yeah. And it's so, but in the same way as BCNR, it still feels so rooted in like modern topics. Like,
yes,
they're talking about how everybody can't go to space. And if everybody did go to space, all of the bars would have a line. And I'm like, who is thinking about these things? I have no idea. I am the world's biggest paving slab, but nobody can walk over me. Is another line that sticks with me all the time from that album. And I just think it's so fun. I think their lyrics are so fun. I think everything else sounds really good. But
it's really refreshing to hear songs from fun perspectives like that. Like,
absolutely. And they're still very like socially conscious and whatever. I think that they're like have things to say.
Totally.
But they're still fun. They're still like enjoyable. And then the production's great. I think they're all sound like super talented players in that band. And
no, they're locked the fuck in. Big fan of them. I only listened to that record once, I think. And I enjoyed it. I just never went back to it. So if I actually started re-listening to stuff at the beginning of December, like I usually do, it probably would have made the list. But nice. It was cut for time.
Fair enough.
Just like Lord.
There were several albums that happened on my list. So
yeah, number 5, I have Chromacopia. I loved that record. It made me cry on my way to work the first time I listened to it,
which is great.
I think it's not Tyler at his best, which is such a high bar. I think it's Tyler at his most personal. I think he does an incredible job of making songs emotionally charged, which he doesn't do too often. It seems just more like he's coming to terms with slowing down and needing to take a look at where his life is going, and if he wants to actually be an adult and have kids and settle down, and what does he actually want in life. And I love that angle for him. And it still comes with so many fun moments of instrumentation, some absolute bops of songs like Sticky and Thought I Was Dead, great collaborations in there. Schoolboy Q, Dochi's on this, Lil Wanye,
Wheezy,
Sexy Red. What's the other one on that song?
I don't know off top.
So many. Daniel Caesar's on that. It's just so fun. I don't know. I feel like he just is maximum. He just makes the music he wants to hear. He always does. It's just he finds a gap in his own library of songs he can listen to. He's like, I will make that song because it's not real. I will make songs for marching bands to play. I'll make fucking ballads. I'll make whatever I feel like making. He has so much creative control, and that comes from how much good music he's made in the past. And this is not breaking from that pattern. He's still in his prime, in my opinion.
I mean, I agree with pretty much everything that you said. I think that it's a really solid album. I really like it. I think it sounds good. I think he's doing all the same things that he's done well before. I love how personal it is. That is the biggest thing for me on that album. And I think it's really cool. I still find it a little bit like, I don't know, maybe he's not tackling all those topics with like the grace that he could be.
Sure.
But it is personal and he is talking about them. I just think that it sounds too much like past projects, which is like what puts me off from it. They're projects that I love, but I would love to see him. I feel like he's almost, I don't know if it's his schedule because he's been so consistent about releasing music, even though I guess the original Call Me If You Get Lost was a while ago now.
It was 3 years ago.
It was a slightly longer gap. But I don't know. I wish that he just changed up the production a little bit more. I would have been like way more into it.
I think he's probably aware that it's pretty aesthetically similar. And that he wanted the focus of like the labor on this project to be more towards, making the songs mean something. Rather than anything else, which I think is commendable. Very aesthetically similar. it's almost like a mosaic of his past 3 albums in terms of like it's not just Call Me If You Get Lost at all. It's not just Igor at all. You know?
I think the other reason I maybe felt like that was because I felt like in terms of like production styles, or the reason why that's such a big knock for me is that Call Me If You Get Lost, I kind of felt like that.
Sure,
it felt like such a victory lap and like an homage to his past work that I thought that hoped for this to be like a larger departure.
Yeah,
and getting personal definitely is, but it's still sick. There's great songs.
Yeah, I think over time, Call Me If You Get Lost became it's very much its own thing to me. But you do see I mean, it's that's the price you pay for having one producer on every song he ever makes, and it's him, right? Bar Safari, which is Jay Versace, but like
true,
like a lot of the time it's just him, right?
Yeah,
and he has his own fucking style, you know. You hear it through a lot of his songs. I think he's an incredible producer, but yeah,
he definitely does. It was almost, I hesitate to like make this comparison about it, but it almost gives me a like Jacob Collier thing where it's like, no, you nailed it, and it's kind of it's perfect, and I know how good a musician you are, and I know that you've developed this whole style, and
I feel like
it just feels too predictable.
I feel like it'd be Tyler Creed would be blown away to be compared to Jacob Collier because he has no traditional training in any any instrument at all. Like he's completely self-taught, you know. So it's kind of
no, he is, and that's
crazy
great.
that he's come to that point.
It's well, and that's what I mean. Is like I feel like he kind of like has mastered his craft, and that's a incredible thing.
Yeah,
and it's really good for him that he's done that. But me, I demand that he reinvent himself once again.
Yeah, it's just because
he
we
wants
have
to play
such a high standard
my
for him,
podcast albums of the year list.
Yeah, but like when you think about it, like the change from Flower Boy to Igor is one of the craziest 2-year changes aesthetically that we've seen from an artist, and with 2 incredible albums. So I think the standard just became so high, you know?
No, that's so true. Yeah. That's so true. He is suffering from his own success in my eyes.
Exactly.
And, you know, good problems.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is GNX by Kendrick Lamar.
Okay, that's exciting because I think our top 3s are the same 3 albums, which is gonna be nuts. Do you think that could be possible?
It could be, yeah.
Okay.
It could be 2 of them for sure.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, GNX I think is super sick. I like it. I listened to it and I was like, not as crazy, more of a mixtape kind of vibe. Doesn't feel as good.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, I think I listened to it 5 times.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, whoa, how did that happen? I just like let it repeat. And I don't know. It's sick. I love Kendrick Lamar. I'm a Kendrick Lamar glazer, I guess now. Say what you will.
Yeah,
I love that he took this victory lap and he just like took a step back to like, and the way that he did that is by propping up all of these other like LA artists and really driving the point home that is, in light of the Drake beef, is what this was all about, is about supporting people in his community, supporting other rappers, being really about that world. And that's what he does here. So it doesn't need to be a grand conceptual statement, even though there are really conceptual moments where he has like reincarnated and he lives through the lives of all of these different music industry people, and all that is great. Both songs with SZA are fantastic.
They do so well together,
and it is such a reflection on his own success and everything that's kind of going on with him in the last few years. And I think it's like kind of the perfect thing for him to be doing right now. And much like when we were talking about the Denzel Curry thing, not everything has to be a big conceptual thing.
It's
sometimes you
album,
can
just like Denzel Curry,
be sick on the mic.
Yeah, I was gonna make that exact comparison.
Yeah, but then I still think it does more than just doing that and like just being a mixtape and just being cool sounding songs. I think there is more of like a statement and a context that gives it such a larger weight.
Definitely. Yeah, I you know when there's an album that you link very closely to like when you were listening to it for the first time, and that's just all you think about.
Yeah.
Okay. I've told you before that me and my friends, we spin a wheel when we have to play a new game, and then whatever it lands on, you have to play. The day that Kendrick dropped, before he dropped, because it was like a morning thing.
Yeah.
I landed on the Power Wash Simulator SpongeBob SquarePants DLC, which was about $7, I believe. Okay. So when Kendrick dropped, I was cleaning out Mermaid Man and Aqua Boy's lair, and that was a big level. So I was still cleaning Mermaid Man and Aqua Boy's Barnacle Boy, sorry. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy's lair by the time it ended. So visually in my head, that's all I can think about, which is really does the album a disservice. So, and I never listened to it. Maybe I listened to it one more time after that.
Yeah.
But that, I think, is why it's not on my list. Like, literally the only reason. It's a great album. I just never went back after that to remove that link. Okay?
No, I got you. That's fair. It happens.
So that's why it's not on the list.
That's what happens when you surprise drop an album. That's a
It
note.
is.
That's a
It
note.
is.
To
I wasn't
Kendrick,
ready. I wasn't ready.
Someone might be playing
I was power washing.
Power Wash. SpongeBob SquarePants Power Wash Simulator.
Exactly. My number 4 is Bright Future by Adrian Lenker.
Wow. Okay.
I adore that album. I re-listened to it this week to make sure that my top 7 were pristine.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, there are so many beautiful songs on this record that only get better the more I listen to them. I think when Big Thief's last record came out, I think you ranked it really high.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't really listen to it much.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just my moment to really appreciate Adrian Lenker's genius.
Yeah.
But it's just so good. It's so good. I don't know. Every song is a banger. I adore it. I really don't have much more to say other than it's incredibly intimate and beautiful, sparse in instrumentation. That's what you get with a lot of folk music, but she does it so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's not usually the kind of thing I'd peg you to be that.
Yeah, it just
into.
got me, man.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes it works out that way. You know?
Yeah. No, it's really fantastic. I should spend more time listening to it.
Yeah. I urge you to. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Romance.
So is mine.
By Fontaine's DC.
We could have a identical top 3. Could you imagine?
Then it's crazy because I'm still not entirely sold.
I've had a crisis on the top 2.
Yeah, my top 2 I've known were gonna be my top 2 forever. The thing I'll say about Romance, the singles came out. Starburster.
Yes.
My most listened to song of last
year.
So
good.
I listened to that song a disgusting amount. Favorite. Wasn't as crazy about it when it first came out. Now it's probably my favorite song on the album. It stirs up very strong feelings in me.
Is that Momentary Blissness and then Inhale? Or is that another song?
Momentary Blissness was a single, I think. In the Modern World. The other singles I have less to say about.
Hold on. Yes. This is okay. Got it.
Those two. The other singles I thought were good, and I was like, these sound more like singles, and they're cool. Wasn't as crazy about them. The album comes out. I listened to it. My initial reaction, a little bit. I felt like I was sold a dream based on those 2 singles.
You have said this.
It wasn't quite it wasn't being recorded at the time.
Yeah.
Was a little disappointed initially, and then I just kept listening to it, and I couldn't stop listening to it.
Every song's a damn hit. That's the secret.
Every song's a hit, and they're all different. It has I've used this comparison before. This time I really think it works. It's called Romance. It has a miseducation thing where I feel like has that thing going where it's about love and all these different kinds of love and how it can be nice and how it can be violent and how it's really horny and how it does all these things and how it can be kind of miserable, and it hits all those different marks and has all these different styles. And when earlier we were talking about how you can watch a reviewer and if they don't like an album you still know that they're gonna like it, in the Fantana review of this he talks about the song structure not being that interesting, which I suppose that I could see, but I don't agree with really at all. I think all the songs sound great. It's so cool to see this band have this moment that they're having where they're really blowing up right now. I saw them open for Arctic Monkeys. I really want to go see them again. I'm really frustrated I didn't get tickets to their show.
It would be a killer show
in Vancouver, because they were great. And when I saw them in like a big arena, I'd listened to their stuff a little bit before, and then I saw them perform. The arena, I feel like, is the worst venue type to see any music performed in, or at least to get turned on to new stuff that you are unfamiliar with.
Yeah,
stuff you like is great.
I got you.
And I was so caught up in their set, and I thought they were so good. And I went back, I just started listening to all of their albums. Great. I think they're so cool. Incredibly based band once again, because they're Irish.
Yes, and I saw their acceptance award speech at some award show. Yeah. They're like, it's embarrassing that we're the first people to bring up Palestine.
Yeah,
that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this record so much. It's a great workout record.
Yeah.
It's a great living your life record. I think it's just all-encompassing, universal, good rock. I better fucking sweep anything it's nominated for at the Grammys. I think it's nominated for Best Rock Album, maybe probably something else. I was watching the Game Awards.
Yeah.
And a trailer for Borderlands 4 came on. I didn't play Borderlands 3. I played like half of Borderlands 2. It's not something I really care about.
Yeah.
But just because Starburster was playing in the trailer, I cared.
Yeah.
I was locked in. I think just because I love that song so much,
it's insane.
It made me care about Borderlands 4.
Yeah.
Which is something a great song will do.
They're so good. And I think lyrically their stuff is filled with so many like great little like one-liners, turns of phrase.
Yeah.
These like really longer, more drawn out like conceptual things.
So fun. So fun.
And I when you were like, it's just good rock, I kind of agree. And I was thinking about it on my way over today here, and when I was doing my list, and I was like, for me, that feels like the music that's the kind of music that made me get into like music more heavily and like find the things that were my own. Was kind of like rock and alternative and like indie music and stuff like that. And listening to this, I was like, it felt like a We Are So Back moment where I was like, finally, there's like a cool band for me to like really get into like this, because I feel like there hasn't been one in like a few years where I've like felt this invested in the stuff that they were doing and this excited by it.
Yeah. So fun. So fun. Can't wait to see what they make next.
Yeah, me too.
Because they're a great band.
They really are.
I am so scared to get down to the top 2. I don't have the heart. Can we give 2 first places like they did at the World Blitz Championships last week, or how they did for the high jumpers in 2020, and then the 2 high jumpers hug. They get 2 gold medals. No, we should probably just do this. Okay? Can I just say, we've never agreed on a top album of the year, I believe.
Yeah.
So if we could, that would
go either way for
me. That could be 10 awards history. Me too. But I have a line of reasoning that still hurts me, but I have to go with to give myself some solace, because it feels right in my heart. What's your number 2, Evan?
What I have written here is contrary to what I thought for most of the year.
Okay.
And I put Brat at number 2.
Okay.
Is that what you did?
I put Imaginal Disc at number 2.
Did you? I've been going back and forth about this.
It's all killing me.
Day.
Let's talk it through, okay?
Yeah, maybe we'll come to like a conclusion.
I don't think either of us are gonna flip, to be honest. But
I think
that's probably for the best.
This is my distinction. I have a little arrow written here, like that I was going to switch them. I think before I came over here, I was gonna put Imaginal Disc at number 2. My case,
it's so
for
hard.
both of them is I think Brat is the album of the year.
Yes. Culturally and like
by virtually any metric.
Yes,
it's the album of the year. Imaginal Disc. No, I am switching it. I think I'm putting Imaginal Disc. I'm doing it at number 2.
Incredible.
So then we can. I think Imaginal Disc is amazing.
It's so good. I hate putting it at number 2. And can I say, Mercurial World, their last album.
Yeah.
I put in my top 10 that year.
You did,
I believe.
Yeah.
I put the great listeners of this show onto Magdalena Bay. I said,
tune in to these fuckers,
You
okay?
did.
And they blew me away.
You did.
I have never heard any artist so locked in on a project before. They sound so effortlessly perfect in every single metric.
Yeah.
Which makes it so much more ridiculous that they have a number 2 spot on my list.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel, man.
No, me too, officially. The Imaginal Disc is so good. And every song is so good, and every song is so layered. And every song, every time I listen to them, I think I have a favorite song in the album, and then I'm like, oh no, now that's my floor is my favorite song. And I never quite listened to this one lick or this thing well enough in it, and it's just filled with all of these like
there's fucking motifs
moments
going through the record where you're like, I heard that melody before in this other song. There are beautiful transitions, which they mastered in Mercurial World and just transferred over here.
It's an incredibly holistic project in the sense...
So good.
And everything almost, like, blends together. Like, I feel like it would almost be a disservice to the album if, when I was listening to it, I wasn't listening to it, like... almost just through the album or listening to multiple songs in a row, like just to pull one or two out at a time. It's so good, and it's so cool. Good. And it really, when I saw their show, that really solidified it for me. Live. I went to that show and I left with like questions. I wanted to.
That's awesome.
I have never felt so like I want to sit and have coffee with the people in the band to just like ask them about what they meant by certain things that they did. Like the weird starfish head man and just all this crazy stuff that they're doing visually. It's so cool and it's so good. And I like the sounds.
They're so good. I just have such a soft spot for them.
Just keeps growing.
They're exactly
on me.
My kind of fucking music.
Yeah,
everything they do. The singer Micah, she's Argentine, so she'll just like had the Vamos Argentina shit at the World Cup. So I was like, that's my dog right there.
Yeah,
you know, can't they can do no wrong.
My previous case for it being number one, which I've now changed.
Yeah.
And I now...
you now rescind.
I now believe that it's number 2. But I'll say this anyway. And because I was about to say it to you why I thought it would be number 1. And then I was like, I don't know if it's strong enough. It felt like when I was trying to make a distinction between it and Brat, which is both of our number 1s of the years, what I was saying was Brat is the album of the year.
Yeah.
And Magdalena Bay felt like more of my... album of the year. I felt like more of a personal attachment to it, maybe than Brat, but now I'm foregoing. I still do feel that way. I
think, I mean, we'll talk about Brat in a sec, but I think my personal connection to Brat is overshadowed by how much of a connection everyone around me had to Brat, that it feels like Imaginal Disc is more like connects to me more, but it's not the case. Like on my relisted of Brat this week, I was almost like, God damn it, like fucking hell, like this. Are we kidding? Like I really did forget how amazing this is.
And I think it's the whole Brat cinematic universe that's been created as well. I like kind of include the.
I've tried to remove that to the best that I can in my mind, just to treat the music as it is, and still it comes out on top, in my opinion.
I think that regardless of the quality of the songs on the remix album, which is not what it is, but it's what I'll call it for the sake of time, the thing that makes Brat like so good, I think, is that it just like analyzes so many different things, and it talks about so many different elements of like being a woman, being a pop star, being like in the public eye, being famous, being successful. What do you want? What do people want for you? All of these things. And on Brat, she talks about them all in a very like personal way, and it's all from her perspective. And then the remix album invites everyone else to contribute to the remix album discussion.
Is genius.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it shows how nuanced everything she talks about. What we were saying at the beginning of this podcast, I'm tying it all back to the hot takes thing, flawlessly here is sometimes it depends. And Brat, that's what makes the whole experience of both those records so great, is that then I feel like when she taps into all the features, it like adds this new context to the song and everything that she's talking about. And that's what the songs are musically as well, is that they are the original songs that are recontextualized and you know, re-examined, and it's so cool, and they all bang. And yeah, so talk about just like the main one.
It's unbelievable that we were blessed with 2 perfect albums, I feel, in 1 year, and like in a matter of months. You know, like one opened up the summer, one closed it out. I think something that is almost unsettling to me is how many people in my life have used the term Brat Summer and haven't heard the album.
I agree.
It has transcended the original source material. Yeah. It's now an aesthetic. Yeah. It scares me. Charlie XCX is becoming too powerful. I also think that one thing we can gather from these 2 albums being, I mean, objectively the 2 best albums of the year. We've decided the 2 of us are a big enough sample size, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so.
We've cracked the code for how to make good music. Great, beautiful female singer, quirked out white boy producer. You're done. That's all you need.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, we're good.
I think, to your point about how many people have used the term Brat Summer, that's just a testament to how good it is and how important. It's like how no one knows who wrote House of the Rising Sun. It's like it'll become folk music.
Was it the Animals?
Yeah, well, they don't, but they didn't write it originally.
They didn't write it.
It's like an old folk song.
Oh,
it doesn't have an originator.
The other one that's even creepier is the Crossroads, because that one's about selling your soul to the devil, and people don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
And that might have invented rock and roll.
Yeah, it's like a testament to how much it has permeated the culture. That it's beyond even having to listen to.
I've never seen. When it happened, I tried to make comparisons and just completely failed. I've never seen a response to an album as positive as Brat.
No.
At all.
No.
And
I don't think
for
so.
as long.
No.
It really did last the whole fucking summer.
It did. Into the fall.
The only other thing I could think of is Blonde, but Blonde had a delayed fuse.
Yeah.
When Blonde dropped, it didn't have that moment.
No.
I think the Blonde stocks peaked in like 2018.
And it certainly didn't have the rollout that this did.
No, not at all.
There was no
Charlie
tour.
XCX killed it.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it's so sick how intentional it all was.
Yeah.
And how much she meant for everything that's happened to happen. It was not a coincidence. This was all planned.
Well, okay.
I feel like this was her master plan.
She got a little lucky that Lorde was willing to work it out on the remix. I think that was a historical moment.
Yeah.
For everyone. That was beautiful.
Did you see her like Brat manifesto thing?
Yes, I did. That's
awesome. What I'm talking about. It's like
she killed it.
Yeah.
She really did.
I still think it would stand without the.
Yeah,
without that.
It will. It totally does. But I think about like when I'm listening to the bass album. I think, and I get to
we can limit our
Girls So Confusing.
Yeah,
I think about that remix.
Yeah,
while I'm listening to it.
It is the only one that
tear up. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Also think that it's the response to it and the impact that it's had does feel like it, like I just said, like it was kind of planned, or like that's what they wanted this to yield. And it's so cool that it worked and that did happen.
Because it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
Like, to plan something that's never been done before and pull it off.
Yeah. The other thing that I think is great is that we have been fans of her music for a while now. Like, I really liked Charlie, and I really like How I'm Feeling Now. I think one of the first times we did this, I had How I'm Feeling Now on my list.
It would have been like the first year, yeah.
And it caused me, this album, like, I was going back and re-listening to some of those projects. They're also so good. They are fantastic. She's been so good for so long.
She has.
And really, has not like gotten the flowers or like the appreciation that she's ever deserved.
No.
Because it's kind of like, I think this response would have been warranted on like some of her past projects.
Yeah.
Just about. And I just think that it's so cool that everyone has been getting in on it, and the way that she's like taken over. And it's so cool because that's the whole attitude of the album is to kind of be the center of attention.
Yeah, be some sort of like disruptor.
Completely like feel completely shameless about that.
Yeah. I did find it pretty sobering. I'm trying to find the Billboard numbers. Like, when Brat came out, I was like, this is the biggest thing that's happened in music ever. And it did not chart to prove those numbers. Like, it was like, it charted, but like, I want to find the fucking her highest rank ever on the Billboard 200, and she got number 3 on the 200 charts. That was her peak for Brat, which seems psychotic.
Yeah.
Also, fuck Taylor Swift for dropping 1 billion versions of her stupid album.
Yeah.
And targeting one specifically in the UK, putting it as a UK exclusive so that Brat wouldn't top the charts in the UK. If that's a conspiracy, I believe in it.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit, and somehow only fuels everything that's going on in this album.
Yep.
A little bit, and just makes it a little bit more real.
Seriously, did she get Grammy noms for Brat? She must have, right? Did she get an album of the year nom?
No, she's nominated for a ton of stuff, I think.
Charlie XCX Grammy. She is nominated for album of the year. If the Tortured Poets Department wins that, there'll be riots on the street.
Yeah, there should be.
And there should be. I'll be there. You can see me there on the street.
Oh, yeah.
Torch in hand.
Yeah, we'll start it.
We'll start it.
Anyway.
So look forward to that.
Brat
Thanks for listening
year,
to this really
Grammys
long episode of our yearly award show. The Bengals are up 13-7.
Let's go.
Maybe they'll make the playoffs. Only you know.
The Jets beat the Dolphins.
If the is that the only thing they need?
They have to win this game, and they need the Jets to beat the Dolphins. And that's pretty much it. There's one other thing. Quick
sports corner real quick. Let's hope for the Jets to beat the Dolphins, which is improbable.
Yeah, it seems unlikely. That team, if the Cleveland Browns weren't what they are, the Jets would be them.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Good luck, Joe Burrow.
They even suck at losing. Like, they're a 4-win team that's not even like a top 5 pick this year.
Yeah,
like,
that's tough.
But whatever.
Anyways, that's our show. Do you have anything left to say?
I don't know. No.
No, I'm good.
Oh, that's why I said I was dreading this at the very beginning. Because me, a white man, is about to come out and say that a straight white man, might I add, that Challengers is the best movie and Brat is the best album. Yes. I have nothing really to contribute to the pop cultural dichotomy. But I do feel that way. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Bye.